I'm live. Oh my God, I forgot how difficult it was just to stream from a laptop. There's like microphones you got to set up. There's like webcams because I don't want to use this lousy webcam. All right. Anyways, and I should probably turn this down because it looks like I'm peaking. I'm peaking badly on the sound. I can't hear my own sound. I can't bring in Discord. It's a project that I had meant to sort out when I last streamed from Winnipeg, but of course I don't think about it until I'm on the road. So let me see if I'm actually getting what I want from this. I'm going to go to Twitch. I'm going to listen to my own podcast. Hello, Melissa85. Can you hear me? Nixie Geek, Melissa85. Do you hear me loud and clear? We'll find out momentarily. Hello, Fab. Got my coin, his river song. Woohoo! Are you getting what you want? LOL. Yep. So wait a sec. So you can hear me. Can everyone hear me? Double checking. We can hear you whispering. I'm kidding. Maybe we can hear you whispering, maybe not. It's a very sensitive microphone. My poor family is being told to shut up because I'm taking over the apartment and streaming today. Yes, we can hear you. Yes. Shh. Yep. Hello. Sound is good. Oh, good. Okay, great. Fantastic. Well, that is a coup for me. It's only taken me about 25 minutes to figure that out. Have a good time, guys. Feel free to bring me food or coffee. Are they all in the bathroom? Yeah, Nixie Geek. I've put them all in the bathroom. Jane actually had to do how long was your thing this morning? It was 3 hours? 3 hours. I'm wearing my shirt.
Same shirt.
Yeah, look. It's the same shirt as yesterday, but look. Fantasia. Fantasia. That's my badge. A Fantasia t-shirt. Woo-hoo. Modeling the latest in Fantasia wear. Baz, what are you wearing? Modeling the latest in... Where did you get H&M? Modeling the latest in H&M. This is my son. Do you have something you want to add?
Say hi.
Oh, hello. What are you off to? What's the plan in Montreal now?
I really got food.
What do you think are future skills that kids will need most important in the future? There's nothing like that to drive off. You're welcome to join me. I've got a bag of chips here as well. Got a bag of chips and ham here, neither of whom want to appear on camera, it seems. Although Baz just... was that like a photo bomb?
What? I said hi.
Yeah. That was nice. Thank you. It's like, you know that AI could have you removed digitally from that?
Terrifying.
Email of awesomeness, buddy. He's, poor Baz has to... See you guys. Have fun. And also trying to find... Nixie Geek wants chips and ham sandwich, please. Ooh, no response. Teenagers. Gotta love them. So my wife had a 3-hour stream today where she was talking to her students at the Toronto Film School. And as I say that, I think I'm using a VPN. So I'm hoping this isn't going to cause major issues. Oh my God, a Stargate Genius. Where? There's no Stargate Genius here. There's only people who look like Stargate Geniuses here. I have 3 teenagers full time these days. Need an extra? Yeah, we need more of them for sure. Assistants are not what they used to be. It's so true. I totally scared them off. All you have to do is start a camera and start asking them about what skills they think will be important for kids in the future. They're out of here. It's very, very quick. So I wanted to stream from here because frankly I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss a Tech Bandits. And it's unfortunate I can't bring in the Discord because I'm afraid I have to set up this black hole thing and I haven't done it, and it was just getting to the point where it was like it was going to be the stream was going to be over before I figure it out. So welcome to any Tech Bandits who've shown up. Cal, I don't know if you're here. Wakey Wakey Rise and Shine. One day Cal will come to these festivals as well because she'd enjoy all these crazy movies that are happening out here. And of course Lance. I'm sorry I can't talk to Lance today as well. But so I did my email of awesomeness today, and there were a few things I touched on which I kind of want to talk about because I'm curious to know what people think about it. I mean, first of all, I would guess I have a question for everyone out there. Is like, what is your take on this writers and actors strike? Like, I mean, don't do suck ups. I don't want to hear about how great we are. I want to hear what the sense is that people have about this strike, whether they're even aware that there's a strike going on and how much of an impact it feels like it's having. Because I'm curious. I'm of course in the industry. My wife is in the industry. we get a lot of this news all the time, and it sort of starts to feel like it's the whole world. But I realize that that's probably not the case for a lot of people out there. It was a good email, says Nixie Geek. I agree with the strike. People are not getting paid, residuals, etc. That sucks. Yeah, I'm sort of in between on that, Nixie. I'm worried. I'm worried that actors and writers, maybe not so much the actual individuals as the unions themselves, have overestimated their value. That's my concern, because while AI may not be perfect at writing yet, or at performing, or generating actors yet, it's coming. And I don't think that trying to stop the technology is the solution, which I don't think is what the unions are doing. The unions are looking for a way of people getting sort of recouped for what they've done in the past, for performances they've done in the past. If someone goes in and puts all of the Stargate, well, perfect example, we did Stargate AI, and I guess Lawrence would have had to put the scripts into a machine learning model to make that possible. And it was fun. It was fun. It was silly. It was early days for AI, and so it was sort of more of a novelty than it was an issue. But the reality is, since then, in the last 2 years or so, I would say we're at a point where it could probably spit out not a perfect Stargate script, but it's getting pretty freaking close. Certainly, it could spit out a pretty good Stargate scene. And I guess what's more worrying is that, you could type in a description for Stargate Stream where McKay and Captain Picard on the deck of the Daedalus fighting the X-Men in an Avengers movie. I mean, and eventually that is going to be put out. An AI will be able to generate that. And I think that's what makes people nervous, but it also gets me excited, because I'm like, well, then there's all sorts of new opportunities there for doing stuff. But of course, you get into copyright, you get into who owns what. I would say we've already touched on this a bit with fan fiction, right? I mean, fan fiction, you've got some studios and franchises that will come after people for creating fan fiction, and then you've got other people who will embrace that and allow people to sort of do what they want, and in fact promote it, which I think is much smarter. I mean, Minecraft is so huge because they unequivocally said, feel free to stream this stuff on YouTube, use it all you want, we're never going to take it away from you. And as a result, they got a lot of content out of it. Yeah, Gimpy G, it's true, no Gimpy G today. It's Gimpy G free day. I don't know if you got the message, but I'm afraid my Discord audio and my streaming audio on the laptop is just a mess, and I couldn't spend any more time trying to figure it out. So I thought, you know what? Make that Gimpy G type. That's what I say. Get the text to speech out. Get your game face on. Use that Google technology and see if you can get some text insults in here. It slows you down on the insults too. It's true. A little, the peanut gallery gets slowed down quite a bit. Actually added the names of the actors and the writers and the style of the placard that AI felt would best sum up those people, which was kind of both creepy and cool at the same time, because you're like going, this is literally the problem. I'm the problem, it seems. Hewlett's the problem. We got damn hotel interwebs. Is it not working? Guess the hotel Wi-Fi is not super best. We missed a load, David. You froze. Oh no. Okay. Let me see if it'll let me do this. Hang on a sec. My VPN. There we go. Are we still live? I've killed my VPN. Here we go. And I know there's a huge lag, so the lag that you had before is probably now followed by an even bigger lag because I've just changed the connection. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, okay. Let's see. It's connected to the chat. There we go. We still alive. I've killed the VPN. Welcome to the chat room. Thank you. It's working again. Oh, the joys of hotel interwebs. Had to refresh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you probably will have to refresh because I think it's the VPN has messed it up. I always prefer to use a VPN when I'm in a hotel setting, public Wi-Fi, and all. So, but I feel like if it's just the Twitch stuff, I think it's fine. All good for you. Good, great. Official website for the Tech Bandits. Thank you very much. My delay is about 1.5 seconds, so not too bad. Refresh and then lose connection completely. LOL. Yep. Hi. Same to you, Laura Leatherwood. Bless you for trying this. I know, Nixie. I know. I'm an angel. Basically an angel. All right, so let me see. So the question I had, I'm going to go back. The question I had was how much this writers and actors strike is, how aware people are outside of the industry on this stuff. I'm curious to know. Wormhole 42 hasn't got their coin yet. All right, I'll double check. But they've all gone out, and so far people are getting them, so they should be. It really depends what mailing it went out on, whether it went out this week or last week. So back to our scheduled chaos, exactly. Randy the Magic Man. Hello, David. Hope you're doing okay. Loves and hugs from Liverpool, England. Jolly good, Liverpool. We're not near Liverpool, are we? No, we're near. It's Coventry. We're near, isn't it? When we're in Warwickshire. Yeah. I think it's one of my first. I think you were, Randy. I think I sent yours out in the first mailing, so that could be it. Repost. It seemed to went through VHS came out. Studios came through. Yes. It seems we went through this when VHS came out. The studios tried to make as much as they could before they got caught out. They were trying to do the same thing yet again. Yeah, I mean, here's the weird thing, though. I feel like the unions are going after the studios, and I feel like the big winner in these situations here are going to be the companies that have created the AI and that are using the AI. So not so much the ones that are using the AI. The ones that create the AI and are charging for the AI are the ones who are going to benefit from this. And they're the ones who have scraped all this information. So surely they're the ones who should be held, whose feet should be held to the fire for paying, residuals or whatever it is that's been arranged. I also worry, though, that, it doesn't make any sense to talk about VHS rights anymore because VHS isn't used anymore. Or if it is, it's used in a sort of a collector's way like vinyl is. And I worry that, I worry that we've got an industry that's already very expensive. It's very, very expensive to make a movie, and movies aren't worth as much as they were before. You've got these massive tentpole films, which make most of the money, I think, because of the marketing. I mean, they spend so much money letting people know about it that people go and see the movies. No one else has that kind of money to pour into movies. So I feel like we've got to a point now where we either have these giant tentpole films or we've got these little indie things. I'm getting sick watching my camera try to focus. Let me see if I can make it do what I want. Let's see, presets. No, it's not that. Razer Keo. Is there a way to tell it to stop? Tell it to focus different? I want to focus different. Let me see if it'll let me do this. Sometimes it lets me click in on this stuff. No, it doesn't. I would love to just set the Keo to so that it's not trying to focus the whole time. Let me see if I can find something for that. Oh, God. The joys of not being at home in my beautiful setup. I like going away. I got to say, every so often I like going away. But there's just something about having everything there at home and it's all organized and I've got my little system in place. It's so much easier. Okay, I'm going to look at cameras on here. Let's see if there's a way to get camera options. Camera options. Nope. All right, I give up. All right, sorry, it's just going to have to autofocus. Home is the best in the end. Yes, yeah, it can be. I think it's the brightness of the light behind you. Yeah, well, there's that. Yes, of course, that's going to make a huge difference. But it's just a much better. This is a much better shot. That's even better. This is just a much better shot because it's otherwise you're just looking at a blank wall, and I just felt that was I'll take a little bit of weird camera stuff if it's gonna allow me to get a little bit of scenic stuff in here. I wonder if there is a way. Will it let me do this here? Let me see if there's a way to change it here. Enable audio? No. Use buffering? No. I've got my device, my presets. Huh. Yeah, it doesn't seem to. As long as I don't move around too much, I should be fine. My friend Kim Rhodes posted the other day about having her home foreclosed on while at the same time she was a main character in a Disney series but couldn't pay for her insurance, let alone anything else at the time. Even when you assume people have it made, think again. I mean, there's definitely an association with fame and money. Everyone assumes if you're famous, you've got money, and that's just not the case. Flanagan and I used to joke about setting up a fund for people who used to be on television series so they could continue their lifestyle as a television star without the money. Because, people will still come up to me as if I'm still on Stargate. I'm not still on Stargate, I'm always happy to talk. People shouldn't feel weird about coming up to me at things because I do enjoy talking about this stuff. It's nice to know that, the shows were watched and enjoyed and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I'm not getting paid to be a Stargate actor anymore, and I think that more and more, because traditional television has changed, a lot of actors aren't going to be being paid that kind of money anymore. I mean, C was a weird example because I think during the boom of this streaming stuff, when Hollywood was happy to take all the money from these streamers and studios, that was a boom that was caused because these are startup companies. And one of the many things that startup companies do, started probably best exemplified by Amazon, is you sell things that cost $1 for 80 cents, and you undercut everybody, and you become the largest. You get the largest market share, you get the most attention, and everyone starts using you. You become a habit. You become their sort of go-to source for things. And then you start making a profit. So with Netflix, again, they were probably making content for far more than they were providing it for. The traditional studios couldn't do that or had a difficult time doing that because they've got shareholders who are like, no, you're not giving our stuff away for free. Frick you. And so Disney has to create their own streaming platform to compete with Netflix, and they've got to charge the same small amounts, even though their films cost a fortune more and stuff. The issue is whether this stuff is worth anything anymore. That's the question that is sort of lingering in my mind, is just how much this stuff is worth. Because when I got into the film industry, film and TV we were the bomb. We were like, there was, video games were cute, music was fun, but film and TV were that's what created movie stars. That's what created television stars. That's what people rushed home at night to watch TV. They rushed to the theaters and lined up to watch Star Wars and stuff. We don't have that same impact on society as we used to. We don't have the same hold, the same power that we had when I started in this industry. And I think that is something that I am not sure is being properly considered in these in the demands of the writers and the performers, because now the gaming industry is larger than we are. Watching video games on YouTube probably competes considerably with the amount of time spent watching movies. In fact, I would argue that there are my son's age and younger probably spend more time watching people play video games on YouTube than they do watching movies. That didn't exist when I started. So again, the value, this all eats into the value of Hollywood and the film industry and stuff. So I find it interesting that there are major movies that are now YouTube exclusives. Yeah. Well, YouTube has an interesting story about that, because YouTube was originally going to do these, YouTube Red. They're going to take their biggest stars and they were going to create their own sort of TV network around their biggest YouTube stars. And it failed miserably. They poured tons of money into this stuff, and they were like, the numbers just aren't that great, and we're paying them now instead of them doing it for free on our service. So they're like, let's just go back to that. That was way better. The idea of user-generated content, it's like ridiculously cheap to nothing to produce. People watch the crap out of it. And it's, you just can't compete financially with that stuff if you're trying to make narrative stuff. I've seen a lot of attempts at narrative stuff on YouTube have failed because you just coming up with good stuff every week to feed those algorithms, to bring in those people. It's soul destroying. You know, at least film and television, you can get paid to do the process of making these things, whereas YouTube, it's entirely dependent on audiences and stuff and algorithms and the whims of YouTube or whatever it is that you're using. TikTok, another example. I mean, one of my fears is that we have struck, actors have struck, writers have struck at it, and what will they do in their spare time? They'll do this. They'll create podcasts. They'll go live on Twitch. They'll start doing, you know, TikToks and things. And what does that do? It undermines the very industry that they're striking about. So I just feel like we've got to be sensible about this. And I worry. I don't want to get into a situation where we're just our knee-jerk response is like, this technology is bad. If this technology is here, we need to figure out how to use it. We need to figure out how to use it very quickly because it's going to be our livelihood. Now, I'm just noticing we can't see the chat. Let me see if I can move this out so we can actually see some chat in here as well. Where's my little web chat? Chatbot. Hello, chatbot. Let's move you in over here. So, oh boy, you're not going to be able to see that very well, are you? Oi. Oi. Look at that. I want to make it big enough that everyone can see, but not so big it's in my face. Let's do that. Yeah, the white background is really helping too, isn't it? Oh well, see what happens. Okay, so, maybe I could do this. Wait a second. If I do this, I'll go over here. Oh, genius. I'll be this side. Here you go. I'll be this side, and then that's not that much better. Anyways, whatever. I tried. Okay, put a box behind it. I know, Mark, but then I have to change things. Let me see if I can change it. There may be a way just to add a little box. Always show message, hide delay, show platform icons, disable, emotes, text color. I can make the text color background color. Look at that. When do we make the background color another color? Can we do that? If I make it a nice orangey color in a Tech Bandits way. How about that? Can I do that? Let's see what happens if I do that. Close. Nope. That didn't work at all. Why didn't that work? It's still not orange, though. I was hoping this would be an orange background is what I thought would be kind of cool. All right, let's do this. Let me do this. Enable backgrounds. No. Background color. Well, that should be the background color, shouldn't it? Browser settings? No. Body background color. Okay. Yeah. What if I steal the color from there? What if I do this? Yeah, wait a sec. What if I do this? I go here, and then I go, well, that doesn't work. What if I just add a number here? 6. Nope, that didn't work either. Okay, refresh browser. I mean, I could try changing the color of the text. Maybe black's better or red. Would red work better? What do you think? What do we like? What? Red text, orange text? Maybe orange text will stand out a little better. Let's try that. All right, let's try that. Let's see how that works. Okay. That's all I'm going to play with right now. I've spent enough time playing with this stupid screen. Yeah, I just don't want to mess with anymore. I don't want to mess with any more of this stupid screen stuff. I want to talk. I'm using OBS. Actually, I'm using what's it called? Streamlabs OBS. Yeah. Listening to his brain faff is lovely. It does. I do a lot of faffing. It's true. I don't know. I've been poking around for too long with this thing. I'm getting flashbacks of Windows 95 customization options. I know it's one of those things I should probably just sit down and work this stuff out. But I invariably you only end up working it out when you need it, and when I need it, it's on the road. Orange is the new text. Is that any easier to see at all for anybody? I just thought that maybe it'll stand out against the white better. It's a little better. Yeah. Here you go. One day I'll figure it all out. One day I'll get James Gurney to show it all to me. Slightly. It's okay. Good. I mean, look. The fact is that it helps some people see stuff. I'm looking at the stream chat in the window for it anyway, so maybe I can go a little bigger with that and sneak that in there. Is that possible? How's that? I don't think it gives me the option of a drop shadow. Let me see. I don't see that as an option. I could font size and go up the font size a bit. Yeah, font size is bigger. That's good. Muted chatters, browser, custom code. I don't think I need custom code, do I? That could really screw things up. Refresh cache, refresh. Nah, I'm not going to mess with that. All right, I've made the text a bit bigger. See if that makes any difference. So, oh wow, Laggy Man, thank you very much for your subscription. Who else have I missed along the way? Have we seen Cal yet? Anyone seen Cal? Is it up? We up too early for Cal? First time says Himush Hishmu. Pleasure to be with you, Mr. Hewlett. Cube was one of my favorite science fiction films when I was back in high school. Oh God, so what's like? So you just dropped in to tell me how old I am? My wife sent me an article the other day, and I couldn't tell if she was giggling in glee at my misery. But she sent a little article about how they have to restore these old films because they were filmed on film, and you know these old Canadian treasures are going to be destroyed if we don't resurrect them. Yeah, Cube was one of them. I'm in films that need to be saved from the ravages of time. Why is nobody trying to save me from the ravages of time? Why isn't there like some kind of a fund that comes in and pays for some wonderful, plastic surgery or something to make me look like I did when I was back in Cube? A little bit of hair maybe. Good mic and webcam, good. Okay, how's the weather there today? Just sticky wet. It's got that kind of horrible damp humidity to it, isn't it, Jane? Yeah, she's nodding. She agrees with everything I say. I thought Streamlabs dropped the OBS for the name. Yeah, they probably did after the drama. And I shouldn't be using them because they sounded like it was a pretty slimy move from the beginning. Barnacles was telling me about this. Barnacles, I never get it right. Jerry was telling me all about how evil they are and I shouldn't be using them. But the fact of the matter is just they're very easy, and for me right now, easy is good. It's hard enough to drag my butt online as it is anyway. So let's just make it as easy as possible for the old man. We're here for each and other stream. The stream comes second. Oh, come on. Thanks, Wormhole. Okay, what else we got? Dyer, yay, Wolf Pup. I have seen you, Wolf Pup. I'm sorry. I've, so many fun technical issues to enjoy while I'm trying to stream from the hotel room that I didn't get a chance to say hi. But hello, yes, duly noted. You are in the stream. You have not missed one. Five Pup, what do you know about the film and TV strike? Do you know anything about it other than what I've told you? Been trying to find a copy of Dead Meat, but alas, no luck. Yes, Dead Meat was a film I did for the Film Center. The first year the Film Center existed here, the Canadian Film Center. It was Norman Jewison started this center for filmmakers in Toronto in an old house that was donated, I think, for like $1 or something. And back in the first year, they had no locks. We used to arrive early and break in to do rehearsals for the movies and stuff. And it was back in the days of Holly Dale, and she made this wonderful film called Dead Meat, which is all about junkies getting in trouble for not paying their bills and stuff. So the film was severed. What? Almost forgot about the film about the severed heads and the. Oh right, Nothing. Of course, yeah, Nothing. That goes way back. Okay. I've been trying to, got that. As soon as science can stop aging, I'll get you on the list. If you would, that'd be great, Laggy Man. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, sign me up. I've never, I'm not someone who's going to put magnets behind their ears or in their fingers and stuff, like the body modders were asking me to do it at the biohacking convention. But I'm afraid I'm just too much of a coward on that, but squeamish on that. But I also feel like, if it's related to film and television stuff and it's going to keep you working, why not? I mean, I think, for me, I feel like the worse I look, the more I work. So I much to my wife's chagrin, I feel like the more character you become as you get older, the better. So I think probably the better I age, the more I age, the better probably. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Doinky back, hello. Hishmu says, almost forgot about that. Yes, forgot about that, right. And Ben, thank you, Ben, 77677. This was back when I traveled a lot. Too much tech, not enough TSA tubs. Yeah, no kidding. That's where I'm at. I watched Pin the other day. Crazy. I was 5 when that came out. Oh my God, what are you all just here to tell me how old I am? This guys would suck. Let me bring this in a little bit. Oh, this table's heavier than I expected. There we go. Yes. Oh, Pin. Pin was Montreal. I shot Pin in Montreal. It was like the first big film I'd ever done. I'd done some like really mad gonzo indie stuff with a bunch of wonderfully lovely crooks. I mean, if they were crooks, but they would literally do anything to get the shot type thing. It was back in the sort of the 1970s 16 mil days, and yeah, it was bizarre, and I was a kid. As I was in Pin, but Pin was the first big film. I remember I had to research the part by going to the reference library, checking microfiche, and getting out books on mental health because I was playing this like basically psychopath. So I had to look the stuff up on paper at the big public library down in Toronto. It's still one of my favorite places. I love that place. Before I had my own house, I used to go and work there. That would be where I would go, and I'd tuck up with with my Walkman and my early laptops and do work there, because it's just such a beautiful old place full of books. Which is kind of cool. Now it's got an amazing 3D printing setup and a bunch of sort of technology hub things there. Actually, I should bug them. I should see if they need me to do anything there, because I'd happily do a little giving back there. Early happy birthday for who? Mark Lapointe had a birthday earlier this month. Before I know it, I'll be 45. 43 now. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, folks. Whatever. Gippy G, good. Now you're dating yourself. Yeah, talking about that. Mr. Army Veteran says hello, and I say hello back. And thank you for your service. If, in fact, you are a Mr. Army Veteran, who knows? That could just be a name. I don't know. It could even be a Mrs. I don't know. What do I know? Mandy, thank you so much for throwing weird little cheer things at us. And hello from Sweden. Oh, my God. One Battle Pants. That's a great name. Battle Pants. Jane, what do you think? Battle Pants? Yeah, she's nodding happily. Pin gives me the creeps to this day. Good. He was meant to do that. Yeah, there's some... let me go through some of the stuff on this email of awesomeness. So I went through a bit of the strike stuff. I talked about the strike stuff. I talked about my concerns about people dismissing technology because it's going to lose people jobs. I mean, technology displaces jobs. It just does. But think about how many freaking thousands of companies have been created around AI right now. You know what I mean? How many people are those employing? I think it moves jobs. Technology tends to move jobs around. When computers arrived, everyone was going to be unemployed, right? Because computers were going to do everything. So, I remember when word processing first came out, everyone was like, oh my God, the publishers, what are you going to do? Everyone can publish their own book now. I think different industries come up around these things. Stock photography was something, that people used to spend a fortune on. Companies used to spend a fortune on this stuff. And now there's whole websites out there for this stuff. Some of it open source anyways. So I know I'm a tech optimist. I know I'm part of the problem. And part of the problem is that nerds like me, blindly launch into these technologies without thinking about the possible repercussions. But I don't believe that because it can replace someone's job means that we shouldn't do it. I think it means we should retrain. I think it means we should focus on making sure that people have houses to live in, or, the homes to live in. They have roofs above their head. They can be fed. They can be educated. They can have health care. These are the things I think we should be doing. And I think that potentially these technologies could free us up to fix some of that stuff. I'm using AI any possible way I can right now, just to figure out how it's going to shake down, how it's going to be a part of my life going forward. When I'm working on a script right now that Jane and I have come up with, and I'm hoping Jane will co-direct with me. I'm hoping that Jane will direct, and I don't have to talk to the actors. I'll just play with all the technology. But Jane and I basically co-directed everything I've done, because she's just she's brilliant about everything, but specifically she's got a great sense of film, having sort of studied it for years and loved it for years. And when I first met her, she was in TV but wanted to get into film, and we would always talk about making films together. And I just think it's so cool that she's getting to do that now, and that even better if we could do it together, it'd be fantastic. It is a horror movie, which is going to be a hard push. It'll be interesting to see how we differ on horror films, because she right away said, I don't want any monsters. I was like, oh, okay. Can it have a little bit of monsters? So I'll try to sneak some monster stuff in there. But I'm just obsessed with horror right now, because horror is still a genre that surprises me. I watch a lot of stuff on Shudder and things because they're they don't have names in them, so I don't immediately go like, oh, there's the bad guy. He's the bad guy in every movie, or there's the good guy. He's always the good guy in every movie. These are movies that surprise me by messing with me. I don't know who's going to live. I don't know who's going to die. I don't know if it's a comedy. I don't know if it's a tragedy. I don't know. It's I love not knowing what's going on, and when you enter into the world of film, I think we've got to a point where people know so much going into a movie that, of course, you're going to be disappointed. You already know what's going on. So, Mandy, 2462, thank you very much. Man is the real monster. Yeah, that's basically the theme of all of my stuff. I mean, people hate AI. Yeah, I hate people because the reality is we're the ones who make this stuff do the terrible things. It's not again, I don't want to get into a whole set of, it's not the guns that kill people, it's the people. The fact that we're worried about legislating AI but not guns is something that is just a complete and utter mystery to me. I don't understand that at all. That we think that AI is a bigger threat than something that's killing 200 kids already this year. I mean, it's ridiculous. I thought the Steak Bandits would have been in French. Mais oui, James R. Gurney. Mais je seulement parle français avec un petit peu de mots. I only know a few words in French. AI is a tool. How that tool is used is what's important. Yes, but at the same time, we also have to figure out what are people's rights to be. I can type, for example, I can type into ChatGPT that I would like something written in the style of David Hewlett. So does that mean that it's gone out? It does mean it's gone out and taken things that I've done before and is using that as a basis for creating David Hewlett type content. I can understand that being frustrating to people who've spent their lives and careers coming up with. I mean, I'm a different situation. Mine's just me chatting away. I'm not so worried about that. But for someone who is a host or is a writer, who's now having their style mimicked by an AI, I can see the concern there. But I would also argue that what is the nature of creation, of creating this stuff? And I would say that we are all influenced by stuff we have read and seen and heard before. And that is what AI is doing as well. AI is being influenced by what it is seen and heard and read, and except that it can pull from everything ever done with perfect memory, whereas I think in a way, our imperfect memory is what creates some of our original stuff. Is that we draw from many things and we pull in our own experiences and things like that. AI can pull in experiences from every single life experience that's being recorded. So in a weird way, whereas a lot of people have gone like, hey, they're stealing stuff, I've gone, well, wait a second, aren't we all stealing stuff? Like, I mean, we're all influenced by stuff that's come before us. I mean, if something is a direct ripoff, I mean, I suppose, yeah, that is a copyright issue. But if it's something that's inspired by someone's stuff or is a mix of numerous people's works, then isn't that just what writers are doing anyways? I mean, was it Virginia Woolf who used to just rewrite poems that she loved and just changed words here and there to get a sense of how it was done? And then by copying, she developed her own style. Will AI copy until it can develop its own style? I mean, potentially. Again, who's asking for those copyright infringements? Those are people. Those are people saying, I want this to sound like so-and-so. I think in the future, they'll be fascinating to be able to go like, could I take everything that I consider my own and that things that I have created, put them in a machine learning model, and then sell access to that? That makes sense to me. I mean, I think I mentioned this before. Like, what if you had if Tim Burton took all of his content, everything he's ever made, I hate the term content, by the way, his art, his writings, his movies, if he could take all of those, put them in a machine learning language, and then sell access to that, say, yeah, go, great. You buy this for $50 a month, you can have access to the full the full range of my films and TV and writing and art, and you can create your own stuff out of that, and he would be getting paid for that. That seems fair to me. The question is whether and how we go back and say, hey, that's got Tim Burton stuff in it, and that's obviously come from a Tim Burton scraping of some sort off the web. I had this argument with a writer friend of mine the other day, and I said, well, okay, so would the solution be some kind of an AI that can figure out what influenced an image or a piece of writing and spit out a list of people you need to pay. And he's like, that's exactly what we need. Can that be done? I said, yes. I said, but what happens if I run it on your stuff? And he's like, well, come on, that's not, he didn't do it like this. But, he much more eloquently than I'm doing. He basically said, well, of course it's not going to find anything because I'm me and this is my original stuff. And I said, well, then I think you're kidding yourself because you've read stuff in the past. You've been influenced by artists and writers in the past. That is going to come through in your writing. And an AI is going to find those patterns in the same way that it finds the patterns in its own creations of other people's stuff. So there you go. Who's got a deal that I should be congratulating them on? Who's got a deal? We should move forward with technology. We don't fully understand. Worst we can do is blow up a star. I don't know what you're saying, Mr. Army veteran. Wow, I didn't know Virginia Woolf was a writer. Do I mean Virginia Woolf? No. What did I say?
I don't know, but Virginia Woolf is a writer.
Yes. That's what I thought.
Yes.
Oh. Who didn't know? Wow, I didn't know Virginia Woolf was a writer. I just know the song "Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf" by Cherry Wayner. Oh, really?
Oh, it's based on a movie too.
Yeah, and that's the movie "Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf," which was actually fascinating. Was that the one that vanish? James Mason, just vanish. It was about this couple that hated each other, and they had this younger couple comes over for dinner, and magnificent film. Again, not something that's going to be created by AI anytime soon. These are specific. I say that specific actors doing specific. Well, maybe it can be, but I feel like theater. People are going to want to go and see things made by humans. I think there will be like 100% human productions and stuff like that. And I also think there's going to be stuff that I'm going to enjoy just as much as well, I'm sure, that is AI created. And like I say, I'm trying to use the tools as much as I possibly can. I use it for research all the time. I double check because I know it has a tendency to sort of hallucinate about things. But it's fantastic. It's like I can give it a list of things and say, look, could you just organize that in alphabetical order and in point form? It'll format things for me. It'll search for things for me. It'll give me a bunch of suggestions. Many of which are useless to me, but often will give me ideas. I had a perfect example the other day. I was trying to come up with this horror image for this entomological horror thing that Jane and I are working on, this little film. We need a little pitch document for it. That'd be kind of fun to beef it up with some scary images. And so I had it try to create, there's a scene in this thing, but I won't get into specifics, but there's a scene where someone dies a horrible but very justifiable and deserving death. And I typed this in as an image example, and after I got rid of all the banned words and the combinations of banned words, it finally spit out this image that was terrible and completely inconsistent with what I was asking. But it gave me this freaking brilliant idea, which I think will probably become the poster. So it's just that kind of stuff. It's rubber ducking, as I call it, as the programmers call it. It's bouncing ideas off this AI, and I think it's just a great tool for that. And if you just type out what if you just cut and paste what it spits out, then yeah, there's nothing creative about that at all. But if you can take what's the bits that you like and add your own to it, I think like anything, you stand on the shoulders of giants and you transcend, you can transcend this stuff, make this stuff, pop and exciting in a way that's personal and that is better and faster and more satisfying. Like honestly, I'm finding writing much more exciting now because there's all these tools available for me to play with. And it's not writing the script for me, it's not writing the dialogue for me, but it's doing things like formatting my notes into a script format that I then go through and turn into my own. I mean, it's wonderful for that kind of stuff. I just got an idea for a software company, Harry Bits. That's great. I'm not sure I've got their same idea. It allows someone to do in their living room what it used to take a team of people in an office. Yeah, this is it. I mean, the concern, I think, for writers needs to be that instead of 100 writers, we need maybe 10, and that the creme de la creme, the best writers will still work, but they may be able to work more efficiently and put out more content than they would have before. The concern is, people say AI is writing crappy scripts. Well, guess what? So are humans. There's a lot of really, really bad scripts out there that very good writers are hired to come in and make into better scripts, or really good scripts in some cases. I also think there's a certain element of lightning in a bottle with film and television, where stuff just gets made, and for some reason some stuff works and some stuff doesn't. There's almost a chemical reaction to some of these things, I think. James Gurney, what do you use to write text like a screenplay? You know, the format that folks use. So James, I've just been playing with ChatGPT. ChatGPT will format stuff like a script, however you want to. It loves parentheses. It keeps adding these: excited, knowingly, listening. It adds a million parentheses. So I usually go through and just cut and paste, get rid of all that stuff. But yeah, ChatGPT will do it. I think you could. I'm toying with the idea. There's a markup language called Fountain, which is like it says. You use tags to format your content, and it is a sort of it's an open source way of formatting scripts using a markup language. I think using that with ChatGPT. So if you were to say to ChatGPT, "Hey, format this in the Fountain markup format," you'll have a perfectly formatted script in no time at all, without the use of these expensive, clunky software packages that have been out there. I mean, the other thing I'm very curious to look into is budgeting, because budgeting is like something that people just bump on all the time. I mean, Jane gets called about budgets all the time. How do I do a budget for this? And then she's on the phone for 3 hours talking to people through budgets. And with me in the background going, "You should be charging a lot of money for this," and she will, but it's I think that is something that can certainly be helped with. I mean, I said, "Look, give me a budget for a $1.2 million movie," to ChatGPT, and it spat out a list of stuff, and Jane laughed at it because a lot of it just didn't make any sense. But again, I got a format of a system, and I can now have it go and look up specifics for those kind of things, because I'm trying to put my wife out of a job as well. Again, I feel like if we can use these tools, if Jane could do 100 budgets and it takes her 10 minutes, she's weaponized her knowledge. The stuff that she knows that people don't, that people come to her to ask about, can be done so much quicker, which makes it cheaper for the people who need the information, makes it easier for her to produce, and makes it easier for her to get an income for this stuff. So again, I'm not saying there are no negatives to this stuff, but I'm saying that there are definitely positives as well, and we have to explore. I think everyone should take a long, hard look at whatever job they've got and figure out how AI could possibly, in any incrementally tiny way, affect it in the future, because it will. Absolutely it will. This is a web level event. I mean, this is an internet level event. This is a home computing level event, what's going on right now. And I think if you stick our heads in the sand, we're going nowhere fast. So yes, Cepheline, it's a really good point. I just asked ChatGPT to help me with solving a programming-related issue by having it basically search API documentation for a niche software. Exactly. I've been using it for Python, and it's freaking wonderful. No, it doesn't always get it right. It's using old formatting on some of the stuff, old syntax on some of the stuff. But for learning how to program, it's fantastic. You go like, I want it to show me a program that does this, and I go, oh, cool. Okay, so explain it to me, and then it'll go through line by line and talk me through what each thing is doing. And it's just, it is an amazing tool, and I don't want it taken away, frankly. And I think we should be using it, because I think smart people will use it in an intelligent way and an empathetic way, and potentially we'll have time to spend solving bigger problems, like gun control and education and healthcare, and that we're not paying our doctors and our nurses and our teachers enough. And, I just think there's, I think this is a technology that is so much bigger than just copyright issues, and I hope that's the way it's going to get seen. Hotel gave out again. Yikes! I know. Sorry, guys. It is definitely a bit kludgy with the internet here. I don't know why I don't have power. That's interesting. I'm also losing power.
In the top plug?
I'm in the dead plug.
Yeah, that the top socket.
All right, I'm going to the bottom socket. Here we go.
I don't understand why or how that's possible.
Luckily, I have my tech support team, Jane, here, and she's pointed out that I'm in a dead socket. Dead Socket, a new novel by David Hewlett, written in AI. It's still streaming good. Yeah, you may have to just refresh if you get issues. It's got behind quite a bit. Anyone seen Cal yet? I missed my Cal. Is Cal awake? Gimpy G, James Gurney. Just before getting on stream, I officially became a teacher for Google AI Media Pipe. Woohoo! I was worried I'd be forced into fans-only contract. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Gimpy G is an official Google AI Media Pipe teacher. That is amazing. There you go. That's a job that did not exist without AI, right? I mean, God, it sucks that I can't get him on Discord right now. I want to talk. Sorry, I fell off my chair. You are weaponizing Jane. You have a title for that film. I'm weaponizing Jane, it's true. Weaponizing Jane. That's my film. Okay, so other things I want to talk about. So talk about AI, but I want to talk about it in relation to film and cameras themselves, the actual technology. Because the funny thing is, if you look at the iPhones over the last few years, they're all like 12 megapixels. Is it 12, 16, something like that? I think it's 12 megapixels. And you're like, well, why are they not getting better? And the reason they're not getting better is because the focus is not on the hardware anymore. The focus is on the software. And the software is AI, which is how do you take these 12 megapixel cameras, which are more than enough information for our human eyes to take in and look beautiful and still be shareable and all the rest of it. And the focus is all on this, computational photography. The Google phone, what is it called? The Pixel is a perfect example of that, where it's got built-in technology that will remove people from an image if you don't want them there, that will automatically reframe an image whether you have room in that image or not. It makes it up. If you need a little bit of headroom this side or that side, it'll figure it out for you. And that data, I think, I don't know whether right now it's being generated sort of on the fly or whether it's coming from time of day and from geolocation stuff. But there's things happening in photography which are changing photos. I mean, like my son says, that's not a photo, that's Photoshop. I just think that's a great way of putting it. That if you're taking an image of something and it's changing that image, it's adding detail where detail wasn't visible in the image before, whether it's changing focus that wasn't in focus before. Is that a photo? Is that a photo of something it's not a photo of something that's happening in time. It is a representation of something that's happening in time. It's, in a way, it's fake news. But again, technology that I think is fascinating. You've got a few things to consider when it comes to camera technologies. Back in the old days, back in the film days, they used to film on film. My friends used to say that film had a richness and a soul to it that the digital video could never capture. Well, it's now captured it and surpassed it. So, but how does it work? It's working by, these little pixels on a silicone chip. Silicone is this amazing stuff. You hit it with a photon, and it gives off was it an electron or whatever it is. It can actually create a little electrical signal that can then be converted into a digital signal. And so it basically, you hit it with something, it knocks off a little EM, and then you can actually figure out how many photons have hit that pixel. Little potential wells, I think they're called. I'm butchering it in my simplicity. But basically, silicone is this wonderful quality that allows you to do this. And we've created these chips that have millions of these little pixels on it, all gathering photons for you. The color is figured out by what we put filters on some of the pixels. So you have little groups of pixels with different colored filters on them. So they're gathering the different amounts of the various different lights. RGB, I believe is the sort of the standard for it. And then of course the more of these photons that each one of these little potential wells can hold, is the dynamic range. Is how much of the light and the dark is visible in the image, or is possible to be seen in the image. But you get into this weird situation where you think like, okay, more pixels, more pixels, more pixels. We want the best image ever. We need the best resolution ever. The problem is the smaller those pixels get, the less light they pick up. So you can have an incredibly high resolution camera that requires so much freaking light. You're like, burning your subject trying to get the enough light in there for these sensors to pick it up. So there's this trade-off between the size of the pixels and how much sort of light they need to work. So there's been this balance between that for a while. Now, of course, people are going like, wait a second. High dynamic range. So this, what is it? What's it called? Is it HDR? The idea of taking multiple images. Every time you snap a shot, you're basically taking like 10 photos, all at different exposures, and then squishing them together with software and figuring out what the best one is. Again, is that a photo or is that Photoshop? Like you've added, it's not one photo, it's a number of photos, all at different, light levels. And that's all being done more and more on the camera. So the hardware has been focused on trying to make that as fast as possible, as efficient as possible, as noise-free as possible, noise being a big issue. There's noise just in the whole quantum nature of photons, right? The fact is that quantum's, light doesn't come down and all strike a surface at the same time. It almost showers down like rain. So in the same span of time, you could have like 10 photons, and the same span of time, you could have 0 photons based on the sort of randomness of the quantum phenomenon around photons. And so you get a noise, like kind of a noise that builds up just naturally. It's happening already before it even gets in the camera. Then it gets in the camera. You can have noise introduced by things like the process of gathering the photons, the process of converting those electrical signals into digital signals, like the analog that you get out of the chip, converted into digital, so that the strings of ones and zeros that you could then use in software and stuff. You get noise there. So we've got all these post-processing going on to remove the noise out of things as well. Noise used to be that grainy look you got from film. And that, literally what you're seeing there is grains of silver, basically. It's basically light-sensitive silver that when you expose it to light on a film that's just a little thin layer of gel with this stuff floating in it, it reacts to the light. These chunks of silver basically form into the image, and then that becomes your negative that you then turn into a positive. When you want to get the color, which was fascinating to me, in order to get the color, you basically got multiple layers on that film, all of them reacting to different colors of light that creates the color. It is amazing. The process of it is extraordinary. There's a beauty, certainly. I understand the beauty of film, this chemical quality to film. But I find it far more fascinating, these little photon buckets. We're not talking about cameras anymore. We're talking about photon detectors, basically, And we're not just detecting photons. We're not just detecting light now. There's a whole EM spectrum there that we keep picking up. So we're picking up UV, like ultraviolet stuff. We're picking up infrared. We're picking up distance, because we've got our cameras. These babies, they've got like little LiDAR things on them. Is it LiDAR? I'm not sure if it's called LiDAR. I think it's LiDAR. Where it's bouncing light off of us and figuring out how far away we are, so it can actually adjust the focus after. This is a promise of these things called light trawl or something. It was a light field cameras, basically, a few years back. Were going to be the biggest thing, because you could take a photo and then focus it later, which is just amazing. That's now built into an iPhone, basically. And the reason why that stuff didn't work out was because it was too complicated. Photographers, let's face it, more important than focus for photographers is probably the lighting and the exposure and the composition of the photo. They don't want to be using some weird tool trying to figure out what their focus is, and then it's not as good at dealing with the color and all. There's a bunch of different reasons why it didn't work. But I loved the idea of this light trawl camera. And these are all things, by the way, that I talk about in this latest email of awesomeness. But I just want to get through them because I don't have a chance to talk to people today as much. I thought I'd sort of like just go through some of that with people. The other thing that I found fascinating, my favorite example of this technology being used to take photos in a different way is this thing that was created by, God, what was his name? This amazing artist who's created this camera with what looks like a mole's nose on the front. There is no lens. It takes photos based on the time of day, your geolocation, and what it can pull up with AI from the interwebs. So you get an image of what you're looking at, but it's not what you're looking at. I mean, it's like instead of an artist's rendition, it's an AI rendition of what you would be looking at with the camera pointed where it is. It's a really neat. In fact, I think it even has it might use Street View. It might actually use, the actual camera sucked to use was just a square block. Oh, the LiDAR. Yeah, the ergonomics on the LiDAR, not the LiDAR, the Lightrol. Is it called the Lightrol or Lightall or something like that? What was it called? Do you remember it? Yeah. Lightron, maybe. I don't know. I can look it up here. Let's have a look. I'm sure it's in my list of things I've been looking at recently. So, let's have a look. Lightrol. What was it called? It was called Lightfield camera. Lightfield camera. Let's have a look. I'm looking it up. I realize I'm not sharing any links with you, and I should be. There you go. It was the Lightro. Lightfield camera, Lightro. Well, you can now buy them used on eBay for $149. Let me see if I can find something on it. World's first camera. Oh, this is a good one, actually. I think I looked at this. This is like why the camera failed. Oh, although now I say that, it wasn't the one. There's a bunch of stuff about it, but it's called the Lightro Lightfield digital camera, 2020, the Lightfield is the world's first camera. That's so funny. Why is it? It's like it's come up recently, but it's an old camera. And they can't do anything with their camera now because they've gone out of business. Oh no, that's awful. Lightro's abandoned 40K resolution cinema camera. Oh my God, look at that. All right. Anyway, so it's called the Lightro. Lytro, if anyone wants to look it up. They've got that. So the Lightro Lightfield camera, basically, instead of just picking up the light from one focal length, it picks up light from multiple focal lengths and allows you to recreate the focus on anything you want. You can focus in on anything you want at this point, really. So don't buy one. Jane would have a fit. It's true. Got your coin today. Wormhole, wait a sec. Wormhole, they said you hadn't got it yet. Did you literally get it while we were streaming? You gave your... Wait a sec. Laura Leatherwood gave yours away? What? Not to me? What? Yeah, that looks so freaky. It could use Street View data. It's possible that's what it's using, that camera. Let me see if I can find the link for that guy's stuff, because it really is kind of extraordinary. His name is Bjorn Karman. Bjorn Karman. He's created something called the Paragraphica. The Paragraphica. And I will send you that link right there. There you go. Yeah. Laura Leatherwood, next time you have technology that you are just throwing away, you just have to send it to me. It's simple as that. Wormhole42 just got mine as well. Oh, good. Silly question. What was your number method on the coins? Totally random. His River Song. I actually was quite proud of this. I used AI to help me out with a little Python program because I didn't know the syntax. Like I've done random generators before in different program languages, but I hadn't done it in Python before. So I wrote a little Python program that created a series of random numbers between, I can't even remember what it was, between like 2000 and something else. I don't know. I wanted it to be truly random, and I wanted it to be when I literally grab the numbers randomly and put them in the envelope with the thing and send them off to people. So no one's getting any specific picked numbers. I'm just, you get what you get and you don't get upset, or you do get upset. I mean, whatever. I've also been playing with the fonts. So like sometimes some of them are etched in like these little tiny, cool, squat little ones, but I find those are hard to read. So I went with some bigger ones, and every time I do it, I'm playing with the font. I'm playing with how to do it. I'm having so much fun just with the CNC part of this. So I mean, the fact of the matter is they have definitely a rough-hewn look to it, like myself. But they are all, you should know, they are each lovingly done by hand. And with the CNC engraver by hand, in that I put it in the machine and I screw it down and I type in the numbers into my little easel program, and it's just, God, it's so cool. I love it. It's like my little workbench. And there's something nice about, keep in mind that I've only ever worked as an actor. Really, I mean, I've had other jobs, but not. I've worked as an IT guy for a little while, and I've worked at a real estate company doing some filing, and I used to tear the covers. I should say that I have had other jobs before, but mainly my life certainly from 16 on was basically acting. So I don't make things. You know what I mean? Like, I make films, but I don't make them. I'm just a part of that process. Being able to come up and work with people designing this little coin, taking Jack Jasper's design, making it work in a coin, talking to the people who designed, who actually create the coin to help me out with the Stargate's, not symbols, but the little chevrons around the outside and stuff. It happened to be there was a Stargate fan who worked at this company, who was sort of more than happy to help out on that, and did just a wonderful job. I'm just kind of something kind of neat factory feel about making these things and having something to send out to people. So yeah, I've been quite enjoying that. So I'm glad people are enjoying getting them. All right, the mail is weird. The mail is weird. It's true. It is definitely weird. Got mine and loved the whole presentation. Oh, good, judiciously, fantastic. Yeah, it's just a little, like, I wanted it to be a bit of an event. It's got a stamp on it, official stamp on it, and then it's got like a little letter of authenticity, and it's hand signed, and I numbered it, and sometimes I remember to date it, sometimes I didn't. As Randy the Magic Man points out, he's like, dude, I don't have a date on mine. I'm like, well, there you go. It's like even more rare. Date is missing on the letter. It is Mark Lapointe. I missed your date. That's so funny. Well, there you go. Next time I see you, I'll fill in a date. I can send you one with a date on it if you want. But you've got one of the rare ones that I actually forgot the date on. There you go. Oops, that posted twice. What did? I just linked my Instagram pics of my coin in the pics channel on the Discord if anyone wants to see. Fantastic. All right. I'm bummed that the Cheyenne Mountain game project never finished. They screwed up on all the game stuff. Games, that's another thing. A lot of this technology can be used in gaming, right? If you can create images of people with AI, then you can create videos of people. Maybe not, you can't do it right now. It's a bit weird right now. They all look like some trippy hippie videos. But the reality is soon we are going to be able to create videos of people that could be famous. Like, we could have Einstein walking around. We could have me walking around, even though it's not me. There's a lot of ways this stuff could be created. You can bring those characters into games. You can motion capture people and then replace them with other people, as I'm sure is obviously happening in games, but and to some extent in movies as well. What happens when we just generate our movie stars instead of hiring them? I mean, I would argue now that that's what we should be doing, because most of these big movies are basically cartoons anyways. I mean, there's a little bit of acting, and that can all be done with motion capture or performance capture, stuff. But why not just create a fake movie star? Because you don't have to worry about them doing something stupid. You don't have to worry about them like getting canceled or getting canceled just sounds wrong, doesn't it? I mean, getting caught doing something, whatever. If I was spending like $500 million on a movie, the last thing I would do is want it all to depend on the behavior of a freaking actor. I mean, that just seems like a disaster. So, the boys are home. How long have I been going for? Over an hour. Wow. Okay, I'll do like an hour and a half, and then hey, buddy, what'd you get up to?
Sushi.
You ate
It's
sushi?
an all-you-can-eat place.
You went to all you can eat sushi. Where's mine?
You can't bring it out.
Yeah, you got
You have the nerve to show up here without sushi.
They add an extra dollar to the bill for every piece you don't use at the place.
They add an extra $1 to the
For
bill.
every piece you don't
For
use.
every leftover.
No.
What makes
good.
sense?
Do they really?
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's actually really
And
smart.
we didn't eat.
So you don't waste anything, or you overeat.
We didn't overeat. We actually underate.
Really? So what was
We
the?
ate in ways and we didn't realize that lunch was up.
How much?
You have a
They
lunch
took
menu
away
and
our
then
last-
everything after that.
Oh. So wait a second. So how much did it cost for the lunch?
$28.
$28. So under $30,
like
and you could eat as
35
much sushi
in
as you
total.
want. Really?
plus tip.
And it was
plus
sushi,
tax.
sushi good?
Yeah, it was good.
Was it? Yeah.
Besides the salmon, that one smoked salmon.
What are you guys eating? Smoked? We had
Rice
smoked salmon for breakfast, for
Oh,
God's
that's
sake.
because it's smoked salmon. You just
I thought
like
it
smoked
sucked.
salmon. It's because you just might not like smoked salmon.
You don't like smoked salmon? You just
I like
said no to smoked salmon this morning.
But I thought it was normal salmon.
It is normal salmon, it's not normal salmon. It's Abby normal salmon.
Dad,
I'm not making fun of him. I'm not making. Sorry, that sounds like I'm making fun of him. It
You
did
are
because
making
I was
fun of
totally making fun of you. But we literally had a discussion about this morning where he didn't eat his
I've
smoked
had a
salmon.
conversation with you about being a good parent.
Oh, did you? Did you? And how'd that go?
Badly.
Badly,
You
yeah.
could tell.
All right, okay. I'm going back to my email of awesome awesomeness.
I just have to send this text first. That's
Jane just has to send this text to everybody, so just hang on.
It's
So
just
if
so
the
we can leave.
if the internet suddenly bumps and grinds and staggers to a halt, you'll know it's because
How's everyone
Jane
doing?
sent a big message.
I'm the good streamer, so I guess.
You're the good streamer. What do you got? Yes, Spader's version, but still, I was like, wow, what's that? Oh, the Stargate, the original Stargate, going way back.
And there's
Smoked salmon tastes gross. Mark Lapointe, you're so wrong. You and I have the only kids I'm aware of that will even eat smoked salmon. Really? I mean, Baz has always liked
Hand the
sushi.
camera to him.
What? Does he want to be on camera?
Yeah.
But he's doing his creepy look. Don't smile. You'll ruin it.
He is smiling.
Okay. All right, smile for God's sake. Jesus. Okay. Oh, he's smiling. Wait, he waved. There you go. Yep. So glad you could join us, weirdos. What else you got on for today?
Indigo.
Indigo?
Yeah.
Why indigo?
Manga?
Isn't it La Indigo while you're in Montreal?
No, it's just indigo.
Lindigo.
It's not the indigo in Toronto.
Right, but is indigo a French word?
No.
Indigo's a color.
But
You
don't
have to
call
have-
La Amazon.
Well, no,
Amazon
but
isn't
is
a French
indigo?
word either.
But is the French word for indigo indigo?
No, the name of Indigo is a
It's a name.
brand.
No, I know, but in Montreal,
It's
you're-
named after an English color, so it's now just a name called
but
indigo.
but in Montreal they have rules.
Does
about-
Amazon mean Amazon in French?
L'Amazon.
I don't know how they do that. It's
And
a
what
good
about Dirty
question.
Dogs? Just over there. That's in
Le,
France.
Le Dirty Dogs. Does it not have a French title as well, though?
No, because names.
'Cause
English-
names don't
English
have to-
companies-
I don't know. It used to be really, really strict. There used to be one called the Second Cup, and they had to call it Le Demi Tasse or whatever it was.
Well, that's changed now.
Has
It's
it?
just on France.
I don't know that it has.
Since the
no, it was
dinosaurs
Montreal.
died, it's actually been different.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Lindigo. There you go. See? James Gurney. Indigo.
Huh.
I don't know. He may be joking. Smoke is not really cooked, though, is it? Just mildly warmed up in a smoky area. Yeah, it's more. It just gets the. It's cured. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jane. We're just learning all sorts of things here.
This
The
camera's
slow
really-
smile, like someone showing up behind you to jump scare music. Yeah, that's Glenn. He's in our house sometimes, and you just like walk around a corner. There's Glenn standing there with that creepy look on his face. I'm just telling you, he's like literally a walking horror movie. I mean, bag of chips. Damn it!
Doesn't care.
I know what you're talking about.
You said God
Okay.
so many
Don't you just said it again? Man, you doxed him. Deteriorating at a very fast rate. It's true. All right, there were a couple of little things I wanted to touch on before I wrapped up. AI in the cameras. You're the one I quoted you for saying the idea that it was.
just kidding.
Is it photos or Photoshop? Was what I quoted my evil son for saying.
No, you said it was, you take it.
I said it?
Yeah.
Oh, my fault.
I think it was you said that.
All right, my fault.
Maybe you just paraphrased something brilliant
You
that
should
I
move
said.
the chat.
I know.
to the other
Don't
side.
start. You're like as bad as Mark Lapointe. Is that I'm sure there's better ways of doing this, but I'm not doing it. I like it covering your face. It's better that way.
Well, if
Trust
you're
me.
How about you actually be able to see the name of the people talking?
What? What are you doing now?
Just move it over a bit so you can see everyone's name.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's not far enough. I can't see with my glasses. It's hard to see that. Oh, there you go. But now I got to move this way.
Now you're being nice and respectful to everyone. That's saying.
Yeah, I'm being less disrespectful. That's good. Would you
It
call
just looks bad. Period. to be
Would you
honest.
call salami raw? It's a good question.
What is salami?
I don't really have.
Well, like pepperoni, basically. It's like pepperoni.
Yeah. It's,
You call that raw? It's not raw.
is it cooked?
Is
before it's
pepperoni
turned
cooked?
sl-
It's not cooked with heat. But,
It's cooked with
like,
time.
Like ceviche is fish cooked with lemon juice. It's
Right.
acid. is reacting.
Right. It's a chemical reaction rather than
so
a
it's
yeah.
chemical reaction, but it's still resulting in a different form for the.
Right. But so pepperoni though is not cooked in a cooking sense. It's cooked in a
Do you think I'd
In
go
a-
through your
alright,
answers? Really think?
No, you stop playing with
So
my
annoying.
stream. You're so your mother. Coming and reorganizing stuff. I've never tried sushi. Wolf Pup's never tried sushi. Wait a second. If you're in Nova Scotia,
Oh yeah.
are you in Nova Scotia or New Brunswick? I can't remember. You can't remember now. But if as long as you're near the water, it's Well, I say that.
What do you?
I think they'd have to ship a lot of the stuff, honestly, because you don't get a lot of the fish you probably want to be eating. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Start with the easy stuff and then go from there. Don't jump straight into blowfish or anything. Like just do something simple. Poor David being picked on by your son on live stream. I know, Nixie Geek, isn't it? It's the story of my life, really.
Common occurrence.
Yeah, it's a common occurrence. It's true. What is funagi? What's funagi? Is that what it's called? Is that what blowfish is called when it's done? Oh, that's it. Bag of chips is on the case. Is it funagi?
Unagi is,
Or someone? How old's Baz now? Well, he's old.
12.
Yeah.
You're really old. He's a union man now. He's
Divide-
working for the city.
My dad's age by probably like 100.
No, you just take
40?
just take
no,
40.
400.
Just,
400.
just take 40 off his
Divide
age.
his age by 400.
I am 40 years older than my son. 40. 40. Unagi is what I love. Yes, my favorite. His river song, Unagi.
40,000, I think
Yeah.
is what he means.
Unagi. Unagi is my favorite. 16. He will be 16 in October, if you must know. If you must know.
Yeah. Why don't you give him my social security number next?
Okay, your social security number is. Do you have a social security number?
Yeah, I do.
Of course you have to, don't you now?
Is
Yeah.
the social insurance number in Canada?
Oh, it is. Yeah. In Canada, in America, it's social security.
Calculate
Yeah,
the
technically,
number
it's actually
in
it's social insurance number. Not social security. Thank you, Glenn, for clarifying that for us. Good evening to David and Baz, but not to Bag of Chips.
Glad.
David, just admit that you're older than dirt. Yeah, I'm older than dirt. It's true. So, one last thing I wanted to talk about the camera. I talked about the camera that takes a photo. Did I talk about the camera that takes? Yes, I did. Okay, so I talked about the camera that takes a photo without.
It's like 3 times.
Have I said it 3 times?
No, you've just gone back and going like, and what are we talking about next? And you get distracted again.
That's true.
Sorry.
By you. I get distracted by you. So I have to do tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, which is early for us now because we watch movies late into the night. I am going to the judgment. I am going to be a judge. So I've got to go through. I've seen all the movies. Saw a bunch of interesting ones over the last few days. I saw one called "Marry My Dead Body," which was freaking hilarious, about this like homophobic, toxic male policeman in Taiwan who ends up. It's a complicated story. Ends up marrying the ghost of ends up getting married to a body, but then with the body comes a ghost of a very out and gay young man. And it's freaking hilarious, absolutely hilarious. We saw another one called Femme, which my son and Bag of Chips will never be the same from, because there was a lot of gay sex in it that was quite in your face.
I think you've passed TOS, Dad.
What's TOS?
Terms of service.
What do you mean?
I'm kidding.
Anyways, so we were watching this movie, and I said specifically when we sat down to watch the movie, like it was a horror. They call it a horror thriller, an LGBTQ horror thriller thing.
It was kind of suspenseful.
It was definitely suspenseful. I got really nervous,
It's just like, yes.
but because it's kind of a revenge thriller thing. And it was very, very well done. But I'd read that there was a certain
Sorry.
a certain sexuality angle to it. So I made Jane sit between me and the boys because I didn't want the discomfort of any of this. I thought there might be I figured there'd be like one sex scene, but oh no, there were a lot of them. Anyways, 28 days later, that was great. God, I love that. Yeah, David didn't pass TO. She just passed the channel rating. Is that what it is? Do I have a channel rating? I didn't even know that. The photons are not hitting the camera properly. Damn it! Terms of service. By the way, is there a way to get an HD version of A Dog's Breakfast? Yeah, maybe, because Malvin Tano was actually putting it through AI to have it up-res it to basically HD. He's trying to, but he's having some problems. So apparently my face looks weird. Well,
we
just
just
apparently my face looks weird. Are you guys heading out? Oh, okay. Well, then hang on. I'll come with you. I'll wrap it up.
Don't worry, then.
Are you sure you want to go shopping, Ray?
Yeah.
You shopping?
We're going
Yeah.
to Indigo.
Oh, screw
Get
that.
manga.
No. Manga, no, go to the Manga Cafe.
That's
Go to the
tomorrow.
Mega Cafe tomorrow.
Yeah, well, so don't spend all your money at Indigo.
Well, there might be stuff at Indigo that's not at manga.
There
Cafe.
might be, but there might not be. Oh my God. Yeah, I've really missed having them around. What am I going to eat then? What do I eat?
I don't know.
Are there potatoes and salad left still?
Knuckle sandwich.
No! Oh, I thought we were going to do the fake hit. Thank you. Thank you for
No.
thank you for supporting me. There's actually a great scene. There's a great scene in I Married a Dead Body. Not spoilers. Where one of the characters is getting shot at, and so it all goes into slow motion, and the bullet's going, and then the ghost goes no, and then the person gets hit by the bullet, and then complains. He goes, but I warned you, and he said, yeah, and why were you doing that weird slow motion talking? It was by the time you'd finished, I was already been hit. It was just kind of cool. Can't sell them, can't eat them. It's true. I'm a cool dad, apparently. Hey, I'm a cool dad, apparently. I am.
Why do you have a mullet?
It's not a mullet. I just put my hair behind my ears to get it out of the way.
Doesn't he look like he has a mullet?
It's not a mullet.
Anyone who has to put their head behind their ears, give it up way soon.
Oh my God! Could the family just be here to support me for?
Support, love and support.
Mr. Magneto.
Love and support.
Couldn't? Oh, that's better. I like that. That's much better. Thank you for my hair design. That's great.
What hair?
What do you know? I haven't shaved it. Oh my God! This is deteriorated. This is supposed to be an informative, intelligent tech bandits discussion, and it's turned into Baz giving me a comb over.
Come along.
Why?
For more sesame seeds.
Don't open the window. Now they've got the noise from outside, and Jane's doing the dishes. This is impossible.
Dad, you're streaming in an apartment house.
Yes. In an apartment house? Great. Thank you.
Start blasting loud music.
Yeah. My family acts similarly on vacations. But do they act similarly while you're trying to stream? That's the question. Oh my God. Okay. That was informative. Yeah. Glenn's creeping again. It's a fantastic stream view of your family. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is fantastic. This is so good. I'm so glad you could be here. Don't blow on the microphone. Oh my God. My son comes into the frame during work meetings too. It's great. Might as well just end the stream, says Cal. Aw, Cal. You give,
Showing up just to be with your siblings.
Cal's given up. Cal's shown up just to give up. That's it. That's it. Everyone says no, Cal. Give the people what they want, Cal.
That's just you, Tom.
I'm gonna just check on. What? Stop creeping people on the camera.
I'm not.
All right. I want to see if there's anything in my email of Austin Austin that I forgot to mention. Les Rascal. I watched a movie called Les Rascal last night, which is don't touch my phone.
Sorry.
A movie called Les Rascal, which is about which is set in the 1980s, and it's about the rise of neo-Nazis in France, which I didn't even know about till I watched this movie. What? What?
He's doing audible.
Is that audible?
He's doing like audible reactions.
Oh, I see. Audible reactions. Neo-Nazis in the 80s.
Oh no.
That was good. I like that. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah.
It's nice to see dramatic.
So that was an interesting one. And the other one I saw was I got to remember the name of it, Restore Point, which is a Czech sci-fi, which was not perfect, but it was kind of an interesting sort of like look at memory and like if you don't remember a crime, are you guilty of the crime? I mean, there's sort of an interesting sort of, or if you know you are going, I don't want to ruin anything, but it's kind of an interesting sort of look at crime and memory and the future. Let me see what else we've got here. AI sucks, apparently, according to this. Oh, right. I should read you some of these. Okay, so what I did was I had I wanted to talk about the strike. And I thought, well, wait a second. What if I asked AI for some strike placard suggestions? Because because I saw these placards like, writing should be carbon based and AI writing sucks and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, well, maybe we should ask AI to come up with some stuff. And so what it did was oh, hey, baby, you
Love
gone?
you.
You gone? Love you too.
Yeah. We'll
All right, have fun. Shop well.
You won't don't want to come shopping.
I do not want to come shopping in the
But
least.
give us a call when you're done, and we'll let you know where we are.
Okay. Is there still potatoes and salad left?
No, but it's from the shop across the street if you want it. But there's also other places.
Okay. Don't break your back. Don't go through a window. Don't. Oh my God. It's gonna be blissfully calm and quiet in a moment. Trust me. Any moment now, it's gonna become blissfully quiet and calm. I want to read you some of these suggestions that it came up with because I thought they were kind of neat. So this is I just said, I literally said, give me some suggestions for placards for a writers and actors Hollywood strike. And so it formatted this all for me, a nice little list, numbered list. And weirdly, because I hadn't asked for this, I was so surprised to see this, it gave me a person attached to each one. So it said, number 1, actor Emma Stone. And then it said, unite for creativity. Hollywood demands human heart and entertainment, not just algorithms. Isn't that wild? Oh, it's so quiet. It's so nice and quiet. I love them when they leave. Next one, number 2, writer Aaron Sorkin. And it says, writers stand strong. AI can't capture the soul of storytelling. Isn't this wild? So this is AI coming up with these things. So there's a bunch of them more. You can, if you get the email, you can see it. And then at the end, it has a little like what would it be called? Like a little annotation at the end that it added. And it just said, the placards carried by these actors and writers reflect their concerns about the invasion of AI into the entertainment industry. They highlight the importance of human creativity, authenticity, and genuine talent, urging their fellow artists to unite in the fight against the use of AI in Hollywood productions. That's written by AI. How freaking ironic is that? It's AI protesting itself. It's going to do whatever we ask it. We ask it to do something, it's going to come up with it. So we've got to be very careful what we ask it, I think, is part of what comes to it. The other thing that I thought was kind of neat was there was a bunch of history nerds were talking about maybe film influenced cave paintings. And my son was like, huh? And so was I, to be honest. But so the idea behind it was they were saying, what if we've killed our animal, we hang the skin up in the doorway of the cave to dry, and through a tiny spear hole in the skin, light floods through into this dark cave and projects an image like a camera obscura onto the back wall of the cave, and maybe that is what inspired these cave drawings. So I just thought that was kind of neat that the technology is still the same. We're basically just shining light on walls, whether it's walls of silver plate or silver film or CMOS sensors or whatever. But just that maybe the light coming through that little hole is what did it. I don't know how they could possibly know that. That seems like an extraordinary coincidence to happen. But it's not something that's hard to recreate. I just love the idea of that as an image. I just thought that was kind of a neat point as well. Did you hear about the Firelight cave drawing animations? No, what's that? Rain Beastie, what do you got there? What is that? What AI do you use to make those pictures, etc.? I use Midjourney. Yeah, I use it almost exclusively Midjourney. I've got my own Stable Diffusion model that I run off of Google Colab now, but it's the tweaking necessary to get the kind of images I'm getting from Midjourney is extensive. I've started playing. The reason why I actually wanted to do the Midjourney one was I wanted to actually do some animation stuff, and then there's Gen 2, which you should look at as well. This is something else I again mentioned in the email is this idea. There's a company called Runway ML, Runway Machine Learning, which has a thing called Gen 2, which allows you to either type in a prompt and have video come out, or even better, what I've been experimenting with is taking a little 4-second clip of video inputting it into their system, and it spits out a video based on the prompt you give it. So you're basically weighting where it's going with your own video. So I did a video, so just leering in the camera like this, and had it spit out this creature idea that I had, and it is the stuff of nightmares. I mean, there's one thing AI is good at. It's making creepy freaking images, whether it means to or not. And this was horrific. It's 4 seconds of just absolutely crawling horror. And I want to use it the way, VibePup is... and they couldn't believe it. You're an inspiration to us nerds. Oh, thank you, Mad Gums TV. Thank you very much. Yeah, I love the streaming stuff, I got to say. I love the sound of my own voice. This video idea was because of VibePup. Thank you, VibePup. VibePup gave me like a lesson in YouTube horror and about this VHS style horror, and he gave us a boy and his camera, this little video that we watched together, and it was really interesting. It was interesting for me to see because I felt it was the future of horror. I felt that these little short, this is the kind of stuff that's going to stick with people of VibePup's age. In the same way that horror films did for us, or horror film trailers probably more than anything else did for us at that age. There's a still 50% extra. There's a still of it in the email of awesomeness. I don't want to share the whole video because it's first off, it's really disturbing, and secondly, I want to save it for the video because what I want to do is I want to cut it into a little VHS horror short that I want to do as an experiment for myself to see what's available. Interesting. I love the cursed AI images you get when the prompt is insert random thing eating contest. Oh God. It really is disturbing. It can create some stuff. I've been using AI to create images for a while now. And I've settled on a certain style that I really like, which is sort of it's got kind of a little bit of an Aardman animation feel to it. It's got a Paddington or the Wombles and sort of a cutesy, almost Pixar feel to it. But it's sort of a mix of a bunch of different things that I really like, and it just kind of sums up to me, it just sums up there's a certain joy to it that I really like. Did you ever start up your microgreens or hydroponics? Bromium 2048. I've been watching a whole bunch of videos on that stuff because I thought if we go to England, which we're talking about possibly moving back in a couple of years, going back to Warwickshire, and then I've got it's basically a freehold. It's like a little farm area with a fair amount of space, and I thought I could do some what is a good, easy beginner crop to start learning about while I'm living in a city that I could then potentially move to a farm. I mean, I don't want to be the farmer who has to get up at 2:00 in the morning to birth sheep or whatever. I don't want to deal with that stuff. I do want a pig. I want a pig, but the pig is going to be a pet. It's going to be a pig pet called Tractor, and I also want a tractor as well. But I thought microgreens would be kind of fun, so I've been watching a bunch of stuff on that. I also saw a thing about breeding fish as well, which I thought was kind of interesting. You could breed fish and sell them as well. Here's the thing. I've been an actor all my life. I love it. But, as I get older, the roles get more specific. There are less roles. We know this. The whole industry's in turmoil now anyways. This just seems like a great opportunity for me to look for other things to do. I would still stream. I would still do all the stuff I do. In fact, I'd probably be talking about what I was doing in the farm as part of the stream. Who knows? Maybe make a TV series out of it. I don't know. But, sci-fi actor from the States as a farmer in England, it's got a good ring to it. It's got like a Clarkson's farm, but, McKay's farm kind of thing. Hewlett's farm. I just think that, this is an opportunity for me to look for other things to do as well. And I sort of welcome that. I've got to say, it's scary sometimes. I worry about income, and I worry about, I've got 10 more years before before my pension kicks in, which seems extraordinarily weird to me. But I've got a decade. Before my pension kicks in, and I thought, well, in the last 10 years, it could be kind of fun to do some experiment with some stuff, and that's sort of where all this streaming and Tech Bandit stuff comes from, and I really want to play with this this escape room stuff. But at the same time, I also have to keep my feet in the film and TV world, because that's just what I'm known for, and that's how I have paid for everything up until now. So so working on some film stuff, working on some TV stuff, but more sort of behind the camera stuff that I can find myself on camera with. So, if you had to decide, with AI pointing a death ray at you, what role would you say is your most challenging? Parent? Like, absolutely. My role as a father is probably the hardest thing not in an uncomfortably difficult way, but in a just a paranoid, just want to get it right because the kid's so freaking great. You know what I mean? Like, I would say that is the hardest role, is the role of parent. I missed a sub. Who did I miss, Cal? Who did I miss? I'm looking up. I'm going back. Who subbed and I missed it? Crazy Nut DK, thank you very much. 30 months. Holy crap, can't miss that. Thank you, Cal. Cal, how are you? How goes things? How is your neck of the woods treating you? How about an Airbnb escape room where you have all weekend to escape? Ooh, I like that. That's really cool. We've been playing with a bunch of ideas for the escape room stuff in my head. I've still got to get everyone together to talk about it, which is frustrating. But it's just between my schedule and their schedule. And then I've got this thing I'm going to do with Hacksmith when I get back to Toronto. So which I'm kind of looking for. When I get back to Toronto, and then I'll go from Toronto to Kitchener. Basically, I arrive in Toronto and then hop on another train to go to Kitchener, and then I'm hoping to film a little thing with Hacksmith. Who's very kindly offered to be a part of my friend's project. He'd already roped me in. Now he's roped Hacksmith in as well. Escape rooms with toilets. Yeah, there you go. I would happily buy fresh fruit and vegetable from Hewlett's Farm. That's an unfortunate order of events. I should have maybe done the toilets after I talked about the fresh fruit and vegetable from Hewlett's Farm. Oh, Bromium, thank you very much for your subscription. 5 months. You're currently on a 1-month streak. I don't know what that means, but sub. I like it. Ooh, I'm kind of hungry now. I don't know. I want like a Subway sandwich. Pegasus 2141. Hello, how are you? Welcome to our little corner of the interwebs. So, anything else on this little list of stuff that I wanted to talk about? Cameras, pixels, manufacturers, computational photography. I've talked about the art project. I've talked about Runway Gen ML. Yeah, you can't really see it, but on the email you'll see there's like this creepy looking. That was generated by Runway ML. Yeah, I think I've covered it all. Woohoo! And then I'm now going to end every single email of Awesome Awesomeness with a buy a coin. You can buy a coin this week, but I'm not going to be able to send them out until I get back next week. So you can take a break from buying coins for a bit if you want to. What else we got? Coins. Oh, Cal, look at you. It's my marketing genius. Did Cal tell us how she was doing? Did I get a response from Cal about how she's doing? You missed a sub. That's all I got from her. You missed a sub. That's all I get? You missed a sub? And join the Tech Bandits Discord. It's great. Cal, you can't answer me. You can't answer me with just, exclamation commands for the bot. I'm not a bot, I'm not here for chit chat, here to run the chat and berate you. Kind of sums it up. But if you were here for chit chat, how you doing? What games are you playing right now? Any games I should be knowing about, that I should be telling Baz about? You know that Baz started a Valorant league of some sort, or a Valorant team. I should get him to explain. I should have got that while I was here. He's got like a Valorant team. He's playing. He's won a couple of games and stuff. He's doing a lot of League of Legends as well, watching a lot of League of Legends and playing a lot of League of Legends as well. So, Pegasus 2141 is doing great. Looking forward to receiving my little coin tomorrow. Woohoo! Oh yes, the honorary Tech Bandit shipping expert. Thank you very much, Pegasus 2141. I emailed as my confession. It asked for an email address, and I put in the email address of the person I was sending it to, but I mistook which email it was asking for, and it ended up sending the receipts for the 3 people that I'd sent the coins to Pegasus. So it was very kind to get back in touch and let me know what was going on. Hey, my dad has a request of a picture of Rodney McCabe with the signature. Ah, okay. DM me, Wolf Pup. I'll sort it out for you. Now that's a horror story waiting to be written. What? What is that? Cal, are you the lost child? What is it? You're the lost child Where does it say that? What is that? I missed it. Are you the lost child of David? You act like it. Ah, it's true. Cal has the same kind of teenager, gruff teenager, aloofness that I think, Cal would be, yes. Cal, the daughter I always wanted. Glitchy, yeah, sorry, it is glitchy. What is she playing? I'm waiting for Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield. What do you mean, Cal? You just like sitting there like just... How do you wait for a video game? What are you playing in the meantime? I just want to say that you are truly amazing, taking time to answer your fans and viewers. You're a favorite actor and a tech nerd. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Mad Gums TV. Here's the dirty little secret. I actually just enjoy it. So, I play a Stargate citizen, but it's still very glitchy at times, so I go back to the old Star Wars Galaxies MMO emulator sometimes. Aha! Glitchy, yes. Sea of Thieves! Oh, the seasickness game, as I call it. The Vomit Comet. Cal and Baz and Jack Jasper and I used to play Sea of Thieves together, but my motion sickness thing has become so bad, I have trouble watching videos now. I have trouble. We were watching a movie last night. There was like a chase scene. I was like, oh boy, gotta look away, looking away. Everyone thinks I'm looking away from the gore. No, I'm looking away because I can't. When the camera's shaky like that, I can't deal with it. So I think I've covered everything in the email. I'm dying to talk to Gimpy G about his new job. That's so freaking cool. For those of you who missed it, Gimpy G's got a job teaching media pipe. He's like a media pipe teacher officially with I guess the Google folks. So I cannot wait. To see and to hear all about that. So, but I guess that will probably have to wait until I return to Toronto. And I wonder if I'm going to be around. Now I think about it, because as I say, I've got to go to Kitchener to film this thing. It's kind of neat. Friends got this idea for a show. Actually, maybe I shouldn't say. Anyway, cool idea for a factual show. It's kind of just looking at things that you didn't know about things. So there's boy, that really sums it up, doesn't it? Thank God I'm not pitching it. It's his show. I'm just doing it because I like the guy. But he's the visual effects guy from The Expanse and a bunch of other things. But he does also a lot of he's doing some directing and second unit stuff. But his background is all. I mean, he did the original effects in Cube. That's how far back we go. And so Bob's got this great idea for a factual show, which basically takes a topic and sort of explains about about whatever this science or whatever technology it is, and then really the whole show is just about something that you didn't, a surprising side to it that you hadn't considered before. So it's kind of neat. Have to run. Might try to connect later today. Paperclips, you go for it. You can connect all you want, but the reality is I'm going to be out of here momentarily because I've got to go. I got to go watch movies. I got movies to watch. Wait a sec. First time chat. What? Diabetic Kyle. Ah, very nice. David, been a minute since I've been here. But always good to see and hear you. I've been attempting Returnal. Quite hard, but awesome mechanics. Really, what is Returnal? I don't know that. Have fun movieing. I know it's going to be so much fun. I love it. There's something about being in a theater full of people who are just film geeks like me. Like you sit there, you hear they're howling and hooting and going and going yay, and like it's a great experience. And I think. I don't know every film festival, but certainly within the Canadian world, it used to be TIFF for me. I used to love going to TIFF. You'd get an industry pass. You could just swan into a movie at any point you want to and swan back out again if you hated it. And then you'd go to another movie, and we'd spend weeks just really enjoying the festival. And then they got into this. It got all snobby and marketing, and it just became it sucked. It was no longer a movie fans movie. It became a movie industry festival. Fantasia has managed to maintain this amazing kind of grassroots, like horror, anime, sci-fi film nerd culture, and it just feels just as welcoming, just as mad and extraordinary and offbeat as it always has. I mean, I came here, God, I don't even know, what is it, but 25, 30 years ago was my first time, and I've sort of been around for it a little bit here and there, but we started, last year we came. I don't even know what prompted it, but we last year we came. I guess it was. Oh yeah, there was a filmmaker that Jane is working with who had a film in the festival. Really cool film, actually, like a post-apocalyptic Mad Max in the Arctic thing, called Polaris. And so we came up for that, stayed for a week, and we all loved the experience so freaking much that we've just basically book it every year now. In fact, next year I want to book it for 3 weeks. Like I want to do the full festival experience. I want to go to the opening night, and I want to just stay until it wraps up and closes, until the tumbleweeds come rolling through the cinema. I'm looking forward to that. Polaris just reminds me of Control, another hard but super fun game. Greetings from Germany, Barracuda Bits, and greetings right back. Anime? Oh yeah, lots of anime. Loving the anime. We've not seen anime this year, actually. Now I think about it, but yeah, Baz is obsessed with it. And Baz has been watching this basketball anime recently, which is weird. There's an anime film, a Slam Dunk, I think it's called. There's an anime here that we might see if we can see. I don't know if we missed it or not. We're weird because we're the second week of 3 weeks. So I'm in for the second week. We do the judging, as I say, the deliberation on it happens tomorrow. The ones that I have the hardest time with, the deliberating, is the music. Because first off, I'm half deaf anyway, so I don't feel like I truly get the full experience of. I'm not sure that I get the full experience of music. Music, in fact, sort of irritates me because it is exactly what I don't need to hear dialogue. So, like, I'm fine in a room with a few people, but when there becomes a background noise of any sort, like whether it's a buzz of people or whether it's a mechanical or whether it's musical or whatever, as soon as there's a background noise, I lose the ability to hear anything, and I'm concentrating on people's lips and such. So, and even with my hearing aids don't. I mean, they profess to help it, but it helps, marginally helps me. It helps me hear the person, if they're right there, but it's still weird. But there are captions for most of the films because most of the films are in foreign language. Yes, absolutely. But it's still one of those things, like I want to watch the movie. I don't want to just be reading subtitles the whole time. So you sort of try to sit back and get the whole thing and get a sense of the subtitles. And, when it's French, I can pick up the odd word and that kind of stuff. It's always fun to pick up a word and go like, hey, that's not what the translation is. There's something kind of cool. I feel like I'm in an inside club when I do that kind of stuff, I have tinnitus really bad from working on jet aircraft my whole life, so I get it. Yeah, tinnitus is one of the things I get as well. Anime recommendation: One Punch Man, of course. Love One Punch Man. Love. God, what is the one? Demons? Is it Demons? There's Demon Slayer. We watched Demon Slayer, I guess it was. We watched Parasite, which I thought was interesting. What was the one with the half? Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul. Oh, we love Tokyo Ghoul. The one that Baz and I watched that we stopped watching, we were so frustrated because one of our favorite characters died, was Death Note. We loved Death Note. Not the movie. The movie was terrible. Whitewashing crap. Hollywood crap. Written by AI. Should have been. Probably would have been better. Death Note is fantastic. Was Attack on Titan. Watched a ton of that. I watched the Castlevania. I guess I watched a bit of Castlevania. That's not anime, but I mean it's along the same lines. I'm trying to think what else. Death Note is. You like Death Note the movie? Not the live action one. Okay, Bite Me, I'm Klingon. If you like the feature film, the live action one, I will try not to hold it against you. But you have to read the manga. It's freaking genius. I love it. League of Legends animated series, loved it. Absolutely brilliant. What's it called? Arcane? Is that right? Absolutely loved it. Is the new Trigun out yet? I don't know. It's a good question. I have no idea. Falling Punch, without hesitation. Death Note is a masterpiece. Uncle from Another World, really. Demon Slayer. What else we got here? What's reading? Okay, well then, All right, then watch the anime. Watch the damn Death Note anime. Bite me, I'm Klingon. Yes, it's out. Trigun. Okay, I have to check that one as well. All right. I mean, there's not enough time in the world to watch everything. I've been watching movies. I've been focusing on movies. I've been watching a lot of horror, as I've said. Partially because it's just what I've been drawn to recently, and also because I kind of want to do something with it, because it's something that horror is a genre that speaks to a lot of the younger generation. It's one of the only types of films that get seen by people who are younger, much younger than me. So the hope is that maybe I'm looking for a sort of an educational angle on the horror stuff, like talking about psychology, talking about psychiatry, talking about the VFX and the special effects and the nature of fear and insects, and also, I mean, I just want to. So basically, the idea of this thing is it's a nightmare fuel, and it's just about it takes the idea of it takes a theme from horror and explores it, whether that be in original literature, like vampires and sort of where they came from and where they're going, and then maybe playing with a few of the visual effects that are used in conjunction with those kind of films, like whether it's blood effects or transformation effects or that kind of stuff. So just something kind of fun. It's really kind of like a horror MythBusters is kind of the idea behind it. So that'd be kind of fun. I'm wondering when AI is going to be used in anime production. Soon. I'm sure soon. In fact, I'm sure that if you want to look for an example of AI being used in filming already, have a look at the opening title sequence for Secret Invasion. Is it Secret Invasion? Is that right? The new Marvel one? I couldn't watch it. No, this stupid rubbery masks. I'm done on Marvel. Sorry. But there's a whole anime title sequence, which frankly I think is a mistake, because first off, it just seems kind of, I don't know it just feels like they're not really listening to what's going on in the world if they're creating anime titles where they've got the best animators in the world. They've got literally the best animators, VFX people in the world, and they turn to freaking AI to create like a what already looks like a dated opening title sequence. It just seems foolish of them to do. Like, that's something that I feel like anyone could do. So why would Disney do that? Marvel? Why don't they use the resources that they have, the geniuses that they have? That seems silly to me. It does feel completely. Look, it's. There was an interesting article in Deadline or Variety, one of the magazines that cover the film and television industry. They were saying that there is a $900,000 job posting by Netflix for an AI, some kind of an AI role. And again, they're like going like, is that really the time to be doing that stuff? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I don't understand what the union expects. Like, I mean, they don't expect, the industry can't expect these companies to sit still. I mean, Netflix is in a really interesting position right now because they're not creating content like nobody else is. Nobody's creating content. Well, there's a very trickle of content, I guess, for people who are already still on contract or whatever. I think Disney has some stuff still being made because the contracts were signed before the strike stuff. The agreements were made and have to be maintained. And SAG has said they should maintain them or continue with them. So, but all of these, what's going to happen, at the upfront? So every year they have this thing where the networks all get together and they show off their new stuff, what's coming out, so that advertisers can buy advertising time in advance. Well, they got nothing new. They got nothing new to show. Netflix is just saving money right now. They've got a ton of content. Tons and tons and tons of content, and they can start doing things like, well, hey, you know what, that show that we have airing on Netflix in India is doing really well. Let's bring it over as a new show to show the Americans. They got a lot of local content that they create. I mean, they've discovered that some local content helps make people feel warm and fuzzy about where they are, and that there's a market for stuff that's local as well. So they're pushing for that stuff. So Netflix, basically, no one's giving up their subscription that I'm aware of, and so they've got their continued subscription income. They're not creating content, so that's just money. So effectively, they're getting stronger and into a stronger position while all these other companies are not. I'm not sure how it's working with Apple TV. I don't think there's a huge subscription base for that anyways. But Apple TV, I think, is eventually thinking it's great. We'll just fold that into our operating system, fold that onto an automatically. You get the cost of it gets put into an iPhone or something, and then you've got access to Apple TV. They're buying. Everyone is pushing for sports because, of course, sports is real time eyeballs, people watching sports. They want to see it right then and there. So Apple bought like a soccer league. Saudi Arabia bought a golf, the PGA or whatever it's called. I mean, people realize that the value of this real time stuff. Amazon's doing a ton of documentaries about sports, and the funny thing is that viewing habits will change because of that. And in many cases, they don't go back. And the last time we had a big strike like this, they created reality television. Everyone laughed about oh, come on. What are you going to do? A bunch of non-actors doing shows? No one's going to watch that. Well, guess what? They're now watching it more than they watch narrative stuff in some cases. So I worry that we have chosen a very, very bad time to further put a few more nails in the coffin of traditional television. I mean, Disney's already come out and said, well, maybe we don't do narrative anymore. Maybe we got enough narrative already. You know what I mean? If I was a company, you got to keep in mind, a lot of these are not film companies. I mean, they're film companies, but they're owned by giant corporations who are just looking at their annual returns. So, if they look at their annual returns and they go wait a second, why are we paying all this money to people to create content when there's a whole audience on TikTok that want to create content for free, and they get seen by more people than half the movies do anyways. So why don't we just buy a social media platform? Why don't we just create Disney? Wasn't Disney create a social media platform where it can use all of its intellectual property, all of its Mickey Mouse and princesses and all that other Marvel crap. They can use all of those franchises as part of their social media, and then maybe they stamp down on social media being used by other. Maybe they get on TikTok and they say, hey, you can't use Marvel, you can't dress up as Iron Man on that, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can only do that on our Apple platform. I mean, that makes more sense to me. If it's just the bottom line, if you don't care about making films, you don't care about telling stories in that format, then tell stories in a 30-second TikTok dance or something. You know what I mean? David, have fun at the fest. I'm going AFK, but I'm still listening from afar. Enjoy your time in Quebec. Much love. Later, all. Wormhole, enjoy the coin. Flip it well. Wormhole just got their coin, so I was kind of excited about that. Sunday episode was the one where spoilers made me cry big time. I don't think do we need spoilers for Stargate Atlantis? It's been on the air for 15 years or something now. I think spoilers, but yeah, we were all pretty upset about that. Definitely. If I weren't making enough to support myself at a reasonable standard of living, I'd prefer to strike and risk the industry imploding than keep a system that didn't respect me enough to let me make a reasonable wage. Yeah, I think it's more complicated than that, though, Elizabeth. I think the reality is that, I don't think writers and actors have a innate right to earn a living doing what they love. Sorry. I think in a way, if ideal world situation, I would say, there's a good, reasonable minimum wage for everybody. There's health care for everybody. There's education. There's housing. I would like to see a world where the only union we need is a government that supplies what's needed for the people, and then there on in, it's just a matter of supply and demand. If you're an actor that people want to see, then you can demand more money than minimum wage. If you're an actor that doesn't warrant an audience that will pay more than that, then you get minimum wage. But that minimum wage is enough for you to survive on. I would argue that would be my, somewhat icy cold, unempathetic approach to it. I've always struggled with acting as a job. It always felt like a luxury to me that I was able to do this, and I don't think there's an innate right to earn a living doing this. There was a complaint the other day about someone who'd worked on 23 jobs and still hadn't earned enough to to get the minimum required by our union to be covered for healthcare down in the States. And I'm like, well, how many days work is that? I mean, is that 23 days work? Is that 43 days work? There's people working every single day, huge, ridiculous hours, and they're earning minimum wage. I mean, you know, there's doctors, teachers, and you know, and nurses that are struggling to make ends meet, and they, you know, and they're not allowed to strike in many cases. Well, certainly up here they're not allowed to strike. You know, I agree that we have to watch out for the fact that there is a massive gap between this tiny percentage of people who own, or corporations that own everything. You know, and I'm not saying we shouldn't stand up to injustices like that. I'm not sure that film and TV performers and artists are the people who, I'm not sure if we're the ones who are gonna, you know, I don't think we're exactly the bastion of what these, you know, what these companies should be paying. And again, maybe that's because I'm a son of a doctor. I've always felt that my father's job was much more important and deserved much more attention than my silly pretending to be doctors on television. You know, I am very lucky. I have worked enough. I am good enough at what I do that people are willing to pay me more than a pittance to do what I do. In some areas, you know what I mean? Like in a Marvel movie, I'm getting paid scale. I'm getting paid as little as they possibly can give you. I guarantee you that. You know, but in other science fiction, certainly in Canadian science fiction and you know, in certain genres, I am worth something to people. They think I'm going to bring people in, so I can demand more than that. But I've never felt that it was something that was any more than that. Like, it's like, if I am not bringing in people, then I don't think I should be guaranteed some crazy amount of money. You know, if AI can help 5 writers do the job of 50, then sorry, I think that just makes sense for businesses to do that. You've got to be one of those 5 writers. You've got to be that good. You've got to work that hard. You've got to be that original and that committed to the business for that. I don't understand, you know, I don't think there's necessarily a reason that we should have whatever it is, 160,000 actors. You know, I mean, like, if it doesn't make sense financially, then I don't think people should be forced to pay for things that I don't think are worth it. I think by all means get paid what you're worth, but that worth should always be a living wage. But I think the difference here is that I don't think you're guaranteed a living wage for working 40 days a year as an actor. You know what I mean? Like so what? You do 23 jobs. Yeah, you get turned. You know, you've got a lot of work. Historically, that would be a lot of work. Now they're saying because it's all for streamers, there's no residuals, there's no money in that. I kind of feel like, okay, then get another job. That's what I've always done. I mean, like I've been very, very lucky. This stuff has always come up, but now it's looking like things aren't going to come up. And so as a result, what do? I look for other ways of making money. And do I like it? No. Would I love to be getting huge residual checks from things that I don't? Then, well, yes, of course. But you know, I also feel like I think we have to put things in perspective. I mean, what is our value worth? What is my leverage in this stuff? That's a perfect way of putting it. You know what I mean? Like, so actors are demanding a certain thing. The companies that are hiring them are saying it's not worth that. Well, prove to me that you're worth it. Some of those actors are. I don't understand why actors and writers aren't pissed off with actors right now, because the reality is they're getting paid. The big stars are getting paid just as much as those execs that they're complaining about. You know, and in many cases, their producers and their agents are producers and their managers are producers on these things as well. I mean, they're part owners of this stuff. They have back end. They have all this kind of stuff. But you know, no one's mad at Tom Cruise because he's a freaking producer. He's the only reason those movies are getting made. Anyways, didn't someone post on Twitter or X? Oh God, don't even start on that. And say that someone on Reservoir Dogs just got 3 cents residuals in 3 months. Yeah, I get checks for 5 cents, 3 cents, 2 cents. That's Canadian. It's worth even less. You can tell how little money they expect you to make by the salary limit to get health insurance. They don't want people working that much, and then they say they shouldn't be paid. They get paid because they aren't working. They want them to stay available for free. Well, except there's this: the union is the one who decides what our insurance rates are, what the level is before you get insured. I believe. I could be wrong. But I think that's the case. And because there are, the union has happily signs up more and more people every year because they want a larger membership. But that membership isn't like, what is it? It's something like, it's in the Writers Guild, it's like it's between like 1 and 10%. Of their membership is actually earning a living wage. It's much the same for acting, probably even less for acting, I would think. I got good residuals for Stargate for a while. I mean, they're done now for the most part. And also here's the other thing is there's a part of me that goes like, if you bring in someone to landscape your lawn and then you sell your house, you don't give a commission to the guy who did all the work on the landscaping. You know what I mean? They're earning minimum wage, maybe, if that. You know what I mean? In LA, it was often not minimum wage because it was being done by people who weren't supposed to be technically working there anyways. So no one feels the need to give money to the people who did all that work on their landscaping that made their house worth more when they sold it. Just because residuals existed before doesn't necessarily mean they should continue. I know I'm literally talking myself out of money here. I understand that. Absolutely understand that. And I think my attitude towards this stuff is probably a lot of it's based on the fact that I got into it more as a crew member than I did as an actor. I never saw acting as anything more than just another part of the crew. It was certainly never treated any differently than a member of the crew. When I started working with Vincenzo, we were like 13, 14 years old, making movies, and acting was just the thing that I was better at doing than anything else. It was the only skill I had, so I did it. But I still helped out with the sound, and I still helped out with the camera. I still helped out with editing. I mean, anything I could possibly be involved in. I loved the whole process. I'm a nerd. I'm a film nerd. I love every aspect of this stuff. And I think it's very, very difficult to get people the wages they think they deserve when there are so many people who will do this for free. The reality is most actors will act for free because they just freaking love it. So it's very difficult. I was always surprised that they could unionize in the first place. That collective bargaining, I guess, has certainly got people who don't work a lot more money than they would have got if they hadn't. There's a situation here, I don't know where it's at in Canada right now, where the commercials decided to go non-union. And so what they've basically done is said, like, no, we're not paying union rates. Commercials will all be done by non-union performers. And you know what? It's been working. And that's going to kill. That's devastated union actors right now. There are union actors who would probably be better outside of their union right now by dropping out of the union and doing non-union stuff. Because they can, instead of getting $70,000 in residuals for a commercial, they're getting paid a one-time, $7,000 maybe, or 700 even. And that's what they're paying for the commercial now because it's no longer union. So again, I'm not saying right or wrong. I just worry that this assumption that that actors and writers deserve to earn a living doing what they love. I think they should be paid fairly, but I don't think they deserve to earn a living if they work 40 days a year. I do believe that there should be a minimum wage that covers people's costs. And I also believe that people should not be dying or going broke because they can't afford healthcare. So, again, I sound like a man. The pandemic has changed me. It's turned me into a freaking bleeding heart liberal, but socialist. Maybe not a socialist, but I've always been a bleeding heart conservative. I've now become sort of more of a bleeding heart, bleeding heart Democrat maybe now. Do you consider? Oops. Do you consider, what do we got? I missed that. Do you consider the days they are auditioning that they are working? No, they don't. No, you audition for free. After a couple of callbacks, I think you get $40 or something. They can pay you $40. That's, I don't think I've ever received money for that, but technically that's what's supposed to happen. That's why you sign in and sign out to auditions. No, my joke was always that you get paid so much because of the amount of time you spend trying to get jobs. But again, like, I don't know that we should be, I put myself on tape all the time. I used to. The term putting yourself on tape. I record myself like this for auditions all the time, or used to before the strike. And, so yeah, I spend days learning lines, figuring out how I'm going to do a scene, doing the scene, recording it over and over and over again, driving my family mad, trying to get it right, and then sending it off to people and never to hear anything again. That's part of the job to me. Like, that's it. But at the same time, you also have to earn a living doing it. So I've sort of always been of the mind that I'd be happy to earn my money elsewhere and then act. And I think that's a bit worrying because I feel like there's a lot of people who feel that way. I remember working with a guy who started like a hairdressing franchise and made millions of dollars and then would just come in and do roles on shows every so often. And he freaking loved it because he was in control. He chooses what movies he wants to be in, what game. Like, that always seemed perfect to me, not to be tied to this hamster wheel of work. But all right, I have nattered on forever. So I'm going to go. So on one hand, you're saying that people shouldn't be paid so much for 40 days of work, but on the other hand, you are saying that they get paid a lot because they have to do all this extra work for free. Yeah, so I'm saying those 40 days of work pay well. I mean, generally pay pretty well by the standards of what other people are working for in their day, is what I'm saying. But I don't believe that, look, if there's 100 people who could play that role, you're not in a position of power, right? When I go to an audition, there's like easily, there could be 100 people in for an audition. I don't go in anymore, but when I now most people just put it on, just record it and send it. But I would say that's probably up to the number of people going for those roles, from 100 to 1,000 maybe. When you can pull people from all over the world with an online video, and that's your audition, then your competition is huge, right? So what leverage do you have? Like, what are you going to say? Like, yeah, nope. Well, you have leverage, and I've done it before many, many times where I've said, no, I don't want to do it unless it's X amount of money. And sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no, and you just sort of have to gamble on that. But more and more, I would say they would say no. Like, if it's something that's crap that I don't particularly want to do, it usually means I'm getting paid pretty well, because that's the trade-off, right? I mean, I have to earn a living, and if it's going to be something that I feel is going to be difficult or hard to do or hard to sell, then it's worth me getting paid more. So. The leverage is collective bargaining. You just explained why we have unions. No, I understand that. I mean, that is the whole point. The reason why we have the amount of money we have as actors is because of the collective bargaining. My concern is this: these unions were created long before these technologies existed, and the value that we have and that we bring to things is very specific. And I think in some cases it's very much worth paying large amounts of money for. Absolutely, for sure. Season 1 of Stargate, I am worth less to people than season 2 because they want you back in season 2 because there was a successful show there. And if you start messing with that formula by getting rid of people, then you're taking a big risk. So I got paid more for the second and third and fourth and fifth. Every year you get paid more because you're worth more to the company. That's your leverage. That has nothing to do with unions. My union gave me the basic level of scale, and that scale would probably have seen me through because it was a reasonable amount of money for filming. But I was lucky enough to be in a position where they wanted me for the role, so I got paid a bit more than scale for that, quite a bit more for scale than that. I don't have a problem with unions. My concern with unions is that we're not thinking about things as a whole. I come back to this minimum wage thing. I think we need to pay everybody better. If everyone gets paid enough to live, then it doesn't matter what job you've got, you're earning a living. I mean, that seems ideal to me. If you're willing to do the work, if you're capable of doing the work, and then of course we need things for people who are not able to do the work in the way that sort of traditional business works. Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing against unions. I'm not saying that actors are lazy slobs and writers shouldn't get paid. I think they should get paid, but they need to be paid what they're worth. And I think that I believe that especially right now, we've got to be very careful about where we see our worth compared to massive companies with huge millions and millions and millions of people watching their stuff that's made for free. It's all this is user-generated content that's created for free. We can't compete with that. There's no way we can compete with that. Okay, we can have 1 million people watch a show that costs us, let's say, $1 million, right? Okay, let's say it's about $1 million an episode or something. That's low. Stargate was probably 2, maybe 3 million an episode. But let's make it the nice round numbers for Hewlett's math. You get $1 million to make an episode of a show. You have to pay the actors, you have to pay the directors, you have to pay the writers, you have to pay for the production. And TikTok's making an hour worth of content for zero, basically zero, and being seen by more people. How do you compete with that? I'm not being defeatist. I'm not being, poor me about it. I'm just being realistic. I don't know how the industry continues the way it is with things like that. I think films have to get much, much cheaper. I think actors have to get paid much, much less. And I think writers have to get paid much, much less. And if the movie does well, they need to get paid for that. That would be my approach to it. I don't think they should be paid more. I don't understand how movie stars get paid these massive paychecks before they know whether a movie's done well or not. I think they should be forced to get paid a reasonable amount of money, and if the movie does well, then they do well too. And it's good for everybody. But more importantly, again, I want everyone to earn a living. I think everyone deserves to earn a living. And if that requires a government demanding a level of income, then I think that's what we need to be doing. Individual unions fighting for individual groups of people, I think is useful and has been useful. But in a future where AI is going to replace a lot of jobs, and God knows what other technologies, robotics, biotech, there's a million different things that are gonna come into play, and that are gonna all come together to make employment less important for humans. And as a result, then we need to figure something out. We got to start thinking ahead on this stuff. That's all I'm thinking about. We're thinking 3 years ahead at a time. We're thinking these unions are negotiating their deal every 3 years, and I think we need to be thinking 30, because I would argue that that's part of the problem with My Fabulous America as well, is that we work on a 4-year cycle by elections, and we're not thinking far enough ahead. I by no means want us to become like a Chinese dictatorship, but the advantage of something like that, one of the only advantages, is that they are planning very far in the future. Again, I don't in any way condone their approach to government or anything, but there's an interesting problem there, whereas if we're continually being buffeted by this cycle of with these election cycles every 4 years. The politicians are just worried about getting elected. They're not worried about actually making a difference, and that's part of it for me. Granted, but I prefer to be Granted, God damn it. What is this? Granted, but I prefer it to be public domain. Fans could make their own shows, films without fear of copyright claims, etc. Yeah, this is what I'm saying is imagine if I was running Disney right now, I would start a Disney Marvel social media platform that just worked with their existing intellectual property, all of their franchises, and then I would go and pursue every single other social media out there and say, hey, take down our content. Hey, there's that person dressed up as Supergirl. Take them down. That would be my approach, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing something like that. Thank you for speaking common sense, sir. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'm hungry. It's my grumpy sense, whether it makes any sense. They aren't planning that far in the future, really. They've got serious debt and social problems caused by short-sighted policy. Yes, no, Elizabeth, China is not my shining example of like how to proceed. I'm just saying that they have the ability to affect massive change very, very quickly. If only it could be used for, if only they'd use their powers for good, they could get everyone off fossil fuel. They could get all the coal plants shut down. They could they could be looking after their citizenry much better, as could we as well. I mean, I guess that's my point. It's just that I feel like we have such a hard time looking at the future to such an extent that we don't even see it when we see the patterns from the past of this stuff. You know what I mean? What do they say? Like, to know the future, you look at the past. And I feel like we just forget the past over and over again. I keep coming back to this, I mean, it's not really related, but this idea of billionaires going down in a submersible that then implodes by the wreck of the Titanic. How many years separate those two events where rich people did things that they thought were above the safety, that they were somehow above the possibility of safety repercussions? Like, they're rich on a big fancy boat. What the fuck is going to happen to them? Excuse my language. We're rich in a cool little submersible. What's going to happen to us? I feel like have we learned nothing? I'm not sure we have. We've got another election coming up next year, and we haven't solved any of the freaking problems about false news and interference by China, interference by Russia. We haven't solved any of those things. None of them. We're about to have an election, probably one of the more important elections coming up, and we're still going to be swayed by, Canada's being swayed by this stuff. They keep finding, these massive donations by Chinese companies that want, legislation to go this way or that way. I mean, money in politics has always been a problem. I feel like now it's become this insurmountable issue, and you've got corporations that has such deep pockets, or state actors that have, endless resources as well. Anyways, China's definitely not throttling down on renewables. China's definitely not throttling down on renewables. David, you will turn full socialist in the next 5 years. I have faith. That's my 5-year plan for you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah. Look, I live in Canada. I don't see socialism as the bad word that my father and perhaps, a lot of my old beliefs on this stuff is. In fact, I hate the fact that I feel like we've cordoned stuff off. Like, conservative has become basically like calling someone a Nazi now, which I think is a mistake. You know what I mean? Like, no, not all conservatives are Nazis and racists. And, there are conservative policies that make absolute sense. And like I said, I was a bleeding heart conservative for years and years and years. I just didn't feel like I could call myself conservative or Republican, certainly, while Trump was in power, or while Trump still has sway over that party. I also hate the fact that we've only got two parties to choose from, really. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like we're in a corner on so many of these different things, and we got to be smart about this stuff. I want to keep making films. Like, I do want to keep making films. If that means I got to write them and produce them and direct them and act in them for pennies, then I'll do that, because I freaking love doing it. I love working with my wife. I love doing that stuff. I mean, this is the life of the circus that I always wanted. I'm living it. I love it. Do I wish there was I wish there was as much money in the industry as there was before. And maybe there is. It's just going to the wrong people. But I think something that people keep forgetting is that, the movie stars are making just as much as the corporate bosses that they're complaining about. The big movie stars who make these movies happen, they're all producers. They're all owners of this stuff themselves. So, and they're agents and they're managers and all this kind of stuff. So, Nightmass, subscribe. Thank you very much. What is your thoughts on all the UFO talk lately? I'm really excited, actually. I've got to say. Bag of Chips, who's with us on this Fantasia trip, is really excited about it too. Look, it sounds like a bunch of crackpots, obviously, but you know what? So did, Sinead O'Connor, poor Sinead O'Connor, who's no longer with us. She tore up a picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live, and I remember thinking it was a stupid thing. And you know what? I agree with her now. I think she was years ahead of it. You know, we're not addressing the abuse in that organization and organizations like it. You know what I mean? She was a crackpot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, these nuts who are running around saying, you know, no to coal power and stuff. It all starts off on the loony edge, you know, the loony left or whatever, and then people start to go like, hey, wait a second, maybe there's something to this. Next thing you know, we're all vegans or eating insects or something like that. You know, I feel these Hollywood strikes will definitely be beneficial for online creators from like Twitch or YouTube. Yeah, well, Mecha DM, that's a great point. Where are actors going to go? They're going to do this. They're going to have YouTube channels. They're going to have TikToks. They're going to post Instagram. They're going to write their own movies. They're going to and all of which is just pulling stuff away from the very industry that they're striking. They're striking for. You know what I mean? Yeah, particularly Dwayne Johnson, who donated a massive 7-figure to SAG-AFTRA. Oh, did he? Oh, good. Good for him. I mean, I like seeing people do. I like seeing the stars take a stand in this stuff, because honestly, talk about leverage, they've got leverage, right? You know, I don't have leverage. No one. I mean, if I refuse to do something, people are like, okay, great, bring in someone else. You know, bring in that McGillian guy. You know what I mean? Like I just think there's, you know, maybe I'm too much of a pragmatist. Maybe I have too low a sense of what I'm worth. But I just don't understand how you can negotiate this stuff. Like, if someone doesn't want to pay you, they don't want to pay you. Your only power in this industry is to say no. And many times when you say no, they go, okay, and they get someone else, you know? If aliens are here and they abduct people, I hope they abduct you and download your consciousness so future generations can enjoy your brilliance. Oh, Mad Gums TV. I'm going to enjoy having you around. So that's why you collectively say no. Yeah, Elizabeth. I mean, that's what we've done. Again, I feel like you got to choose the right time, and I'm not sure this is the right time. We've just come out of a pandemic. We've just, you know, filmmaking has never been more expensive than it was up until very, very recently. You know, and we've been making these bloated productions. I mean, I loved working on C, but my God, the amount of money they spent on that. And I just don't know. I don't know how many people watched it. No one does. You know, Apple does, I guess. Netflix, no one knows how many people are watching the Netflix stuff. But my hunch is they're probably spending more, as is Apple, probably spending more on the content than they are getting in from people subscribing to it. It's a lost leader for these guys. Maybe not for Netflix, but for Apple, what do they care? They're selling phones. You know what I mean? If it makes someone watch something on one of their phones, great. You know? Yeah, I'm not dissing C at all. I loved C. I wish we could make stuff like C all the freaking time. Loved it. You know, I thought Jason was great, and I thought the writing was brilliant. I thought the filmmaking was brilliant. I freaking love C. I'm not dissing it in any way. I'm just saying I would be surprised if the amount of money that was spent on it was recouped by Apple directly from people watching that show. Netflix keeps shafting their customers. Well, here's the problem, Rain Beastie. Netflix has been undercharging. They have been undercharging their customers for ages. And this is the classic internet company approach. You charge a little bit of money, you get everybody hooked on the service, and then you up the cost. You know what I mean? And again, like I say, all you can do is say no. I'm amazed that SAG and the Writers Guild haven't said to all of their members that they should cancel their subscription with Netflix. You know what I mean? You got 160,000 people. I don't know. That could have an impact. If 160,000 people drop their Netflix account in solidarity with the union, I think that would say something to them. The problem is, you know, people don't want to do that. They want to watch their shows. They want to, you know, that's their entertainment. That's what they're using to watch stuff. Toilet paper could cost $100, and some of us would still pay it. Yeah, some of us would be able to. I mean, that's the other thing. Again, is like I feel like, you know, I think different people at different levels of society are going to have different opinions on this stuff. You know, I got to say, if you're you know, a 60-year-old father of 4 who's earning their entire living by, being a checkout guy at a grocery store because it's the only job you can get, and you're earning, whatever the ridiculous tiny, $16 an hour or something it is, as a minimum wage, and you're not able to feed your family, I think you're going to have a really hard time feeling sorry for the writers and the actors. I got to say, and that's just something that sort of haunts me when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, my God, I'm a snowflake too. Add that. All right, I have been chatting for way longer than I said I was going to. If they get home and I'm still talking, I'm going to be in big trouble. So I'm going to say a huge thank you to Cal, because she's always freaking here, always grumpy, and I love her for it. To everybody, thank you so much for subscribing. Please, please, please go to techbandits.org, sign up for the newsletter of awesomeness so that we can talk about this stuff. I apologize to my Discord friends, VibePup and Gimpy G, that I could not get sound sorted out that we could be talking as well. I've talked your ear off for 2.5 hours now, which is ridiculous. So thank you to everybody who stayed with me for that. For the 108 people, Jesus, the 108 people who stayed to listen to that. I really, see, you're not watching the shows. You should be watching the shows. Anyways, so thank you all. Be safe, be kind, be brilliant. I'm going to go see some movies, and we'll talk soon. Cheerio. Bye. Thank you. And how do I stop? It's different on my laptop. Everything's different. Bye.